Good snap, the hold, the kick is up, the kick is good!
Will be a swing by Kramer, kept alive by Jalbert. Lucas with the attack off the side of the block for the kill.
Gazette, he looks to go off guard, tucks back inside to the A gap, and he gets in for the touchdown.
Harrington, angle, off a touch, diving, Dunbar, holy cats, wow!
Starcevic in the shotgun, play action, looking for man, has him down the field to his brother Starcevic for the touchdown. It's 31 yards. Jake.
Alston Telephone Company and R&J Broadcasting Incorporated is proud to present to you this broadcast on yourliveevent.com.
And a pleasant good Friday morning, and welcome to the Dakota Bowl here on yourliveevent.com. Chase Miller, Nathan Hoots with you today for two football games featuring in the Division A Championship. Kickoff just after the 9 o'clock hour will be the number 1 ranked team in the state in the Kindred Vikings going up against the number 2 ranked team in the Aggies of Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison. These two teams met way back on August the 23rd, in which Kindred came out on top 13-6 in Kindred. Then after the conclusion of this match, we will get to Lemoore, Litchfield, Marion, and New Rockford, Cheyenne, Maddock, the Rockets, also number 1 versus number 2 entering play in the 9-man championship. Later tonight, we won't have coverage on yourliveevent.com, but the two games feature West Fargo Horace making their first ever trip to the Dakota Bowl against Grand Forks Red River, where the Rough Riders, last time they made it to a state tournament appearance was in 1987, and then the 3A championship at 640 tonight featuring Fargo Davies. The only time they've been to the Dakota Bowl was when they won it back in 2014, going up against West Fargo Cheyenne, in which they won the Dakota Bowl back in 2021. It'll be their 4th Dakota Bowl appearance. Jason Miller, Nathan Hoots. Nathan, you're seeing the Kindred Vikings and the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies warming up on the field. I guess what excites you most from a coach's perspective here, yes, it's early. Yes, you're inside for the first time this season. You don't have to worry about Mother Nature or 40-degree temperatures. It's 70 and a balmy day at that. But what are you looking forward to most when you see these football teams out on the field warming up, Hoots?
Just getting to watch these guys come and run out onto the field. The size of some of these fellas is very impressive, and then it's an absolute joy getting to watch these two quarterbacks warm up. I think they got to be extremely excited to know that if they throw a perfect spiral, it is going to stay a perfect spiral all day long today with no conditions to deal with. Believe it or not, with the roof closed today, the flags on top of the uprights are not moving. So that'll be pretty exciting to see how these things go down today.
Let's talk about some of the quarterbacks. First for the Aggies here, Ben Shep, the senior, has completed 74% of his passes for 2,200 yards through the air and a 31 touchdown to 2 interception ratio. And the thing about it, Hoots, is he spreads the field across the way, and they can still run the football with Hank Modine, who has 85 attempts for 731 yards and 13 touchdowns. Bossert with 55 carries for 484 yards and 8 scores. And oh, by the way, your quarterback has over 500 yards and 7 touchdowns as well. So from the Aggie perspective, I think any time you talk, and we'll hear from the coaches in a moment, it's the offense and defensive line, Hoots. Every week when you talk about Kindred and who they're going up against, that's where they start. So the question is, how can you give Ben Shep time enough today and avoid those 3rd and 7, 3rd and 10 situations with the Luke Starcevics and the Swensons trying to come down and sack him in the backfield?
See, I think the thing is going to be how many guys are they going to assign to Luke Starkovich. I mean, he just does such a good job of getting so much pressure in the backfield. They're going to have to put a tight end over the top of him to help, or they're going to have to assign a running back to chip on him. Every time that he got pressure in the first game that they played, and granted that was almost 3 months ago, but every time he got in the backfield, their quarterback was running for his life. Now he can make plays on the move, whether it's through the air or on the ground, but they're going to have to make sure that 72 is not getting in the backfield on a play-by-play basis.
On the opposite side for the Kindred Vikings here, Jake Starcevic, back after missing 6 games from injury the last 2 weeks, has thrown for 765 yards, 14 TDs to 2 interceptions. Kylan Swenson over 1,100 yards rushing on the season with 13 touchdowns for the Kindred Vikings here, Hoots. And then obviously you got Baco, you got Bindis, you got Hess. I mean, they can hit you in a multitude of ways. So if you're going up against Kindred, how do you try to minimize the damage? Because Central Cass did it awfully well for most of the game, but you had a Brooks Baco 75-yard touchdown. What looked like it was going to be a stopped 5-yard rush eventually became about a 45-yard rushing score for Swenson on that 2nd and 3rd opportunities. So Central Cass nearly did everything well, but they still came up short, even though they held Kindred to only 300 yards of offense, but Hoots 266 were on the ground.
Yeah, I think if you're Velva, you're probably looking at that big old knee brace that quarterback swearing and saying, we're going to force him to beat us with his legs today. Does he trust it? I'm not sure, but he's going to give everything he got, knowing this is his last game as a high school football player. But I think, try to bring pressure, but it's got to be under control because they got so many weapons out there that if you leave one guy untouched, Velva did such a good job for, almost the entire game against Kindred the first time they played, and then it was one big play about middle of the fourth quarter that kind of broke it open and made it 7-6 all the way to 13-6 and kind of put the game out of reach for them. They did a really good job. I mean, I don't know if there's many teams outside of maybe Central Cass that can match up physically with Kindred, but Velva certainly can.
The last thing when you come to this, Hoots, give us a name, give us an area of the game, give us something that either Velva or Kindred has to do well. The Kindred Vikings trying to go for back-to-back state championships. They're moving to 2A next year. On the opposite side for the Aggies, it's the second time in 3 years that they've played in this game at this particular time. The only difference is no blizzard. 2 years ago, they had to come in on a Wednesday to beat the blizzard with Central Cass also staying in town as well 2 years ago. The Aggies got the best of the Squirrels in what was a instant classic. So what's going to happen from either the Viking or Aggie perspective here, Hoots, for them to win a championship?
I think number one is, 72's got to be contained all game long by Velva. And an underrated portion is that it is currently 8:45 in the morning. This is not a normal time for these guys to be playing. I got a chance to talk to a couple of the Kindred assistants, and they said, we're just treating it as a normal work week. Kids are up every single day, and instead of being in math class right now, they're playing for a state championship. So it'll be interesting to see the body clocks. Are they ready to go when they're typically ready to go at 3:30 and 7 o'clock for practice and for games? This 9 o'clock start certainly adds an element to this game.
We're going to take a quick break. He's Nathan Hoots on the sideline. I'm Chase Miller with you here at the Fargadum today. First of two contests on yourliveevent.com. We also will have our audio-only broadcast of the 9-man championship following the conclusion of this one. But we're going to take a timeout. We come back. Our coaches' conversation. Matt Wilder of the Aggies alongside with Eric Bergant of the Vikings. That's next here on yourliveevent.com.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits including time off available from day one. American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at AmericanCrystalCareers.com.
Partnership is a way of life here in the Northland. It's about pitching in to help our neighbors, making lending decisions locally, honoring long-term commitments to farmers, Main Street businesses, teams, schools, and rural communities. We're more than just a bank. We're a community partner, working constantly and diligently to enrich the lives of everyone we serve. Bank North, always true.
As we continue on our pregame show here today from the Fargadome, the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies square off with the Kindred Vikings here in the first of 4 Dakota Bowl matchups today from the Dome. This, the Division 8 championship. Joining us now from the Aggies perspective is the head coach. That is, again, Matt Wilder here. And Matt, for your club, let's just first things first, talk about the postseason to get here. Obviously, everything's a little bit different for teams every year. You get to see some new teams. You get to see some teams that you're very familiar with. But what's the one thing you've liked about your team's postseason run to get to the Fargadome here, Matt?
I think probably the best thing we've had is just our preparation throughout the week. Our kids have been ultra focused, just worrying about one day at a time. And I think that's really important. Like, it's very easy to look beyond, to try and get to the Fargadome, right? Like, that's everyone's goal. But when you're worried about that, right, you maybe lose focus, concentration, or whatever it might be. And I think our kids have been ultra focused, and the preparation to get this opportunity Friday started last year at about this time after our loss.
As you take a look at this particular game, I ask coaches this all the time who play in that 9 o'clock in the morning game, because let's be honest, kids are used to being in math class or history class or, just kind of getting ready for the day. So how does the preparation throughout the course of the week before you got to, kickoff here, did it change a lot, or did anything be new being indoors early morning game compared to what you normally would do on a Friday for football here, Matt?
We're not changing anything. I think, this was happened a few years ago, just talking about it. And, I feel like it keeping the routine throughout the week for the kids. Our practices are going to be the same. They're in school. Maybe the only thing different is we're going to practice inside at a facility on Thursday. But, I think just getting their normal amount of rest. I like the 9 a.m. kickoff because I know what time it's starting. I know our schedule. I know everything. It's a state championship game, so there's not going to they'll be ready to go regardless of what time you're playing. So as far as our preparation and we're not going to change anything as far as practice times. We'll go after school and late afternoon Thursday and get them some rest, get them up early, and it'll be good for Friday.
You've been here before, obviously, with a handful of these guys 2 years ago. Last year, Kindred obviously wins the championship. So the last just 2 years been yourself or Kindred, and you also played him to begin the season. So how much, I guess, can you take from game number 1 first, Matt, a part of this question way back in August? And I guess how have the teams evolved from your perspective to today?
Yeah, I mean, you go back and look a little bit and just see if there's things that were that might have had a chance there. That's not good, or are they any different, right? But I think everyone evolves as the season goes on. You learn a little bit more about yourselves, what your identity is, what you're good at, maybe not good at. So this time of the year, you got a pretty good idea of yourselves and somewhat of an idea of what your opponent wants to do. I think every game somebody maybe tries something new or it's a different look. But going back to that first game, it was about what we thought. As far as the physicality of the game, the focus that week, and just getting a good quality opponent week 1. But to say that's a game breaker as far as learning and doing, I'd probably not, just because it was 12 months or 12 weeks ago, whatever it's been now. So, we knew we were going to get a opponent week 1 and had a feeling that they would have a strong chance of being back in Fargo, and we were hoping we'd get the opportunity. So, now here we are, kind of coming full circle a little bit.
I know there's a handful of players, and you can talk about a lot of guys here, Matt, but I always like to ask coaches this question: who's a glue guy that maybe doesn't get looked at? Because obviously you can look on stats and say Ben Shep has had a tremendous season, and rightfully so, deserving the accolades he's been able to do. Obviously with Hank and alongside with Reggie and what they've been able to do both defensively and then at the same time offensively at different times this year. But who's a glue guy or two that have really maybe stuck out from the coach's perspective, week in and week out to allow you to get to this point of the season?
I think going from week 1 to now, just our offensive line has gotten so much better. And I think this time of the year, you've got to be really good on both sides of the offense defensive line to present the opportunities for our backs to run or quarterback to throw, receivers to catch. I think a guy that just kind of finds a knack is Evan Wrench on the defensive line, a senior kid that as a freshman, we had no idea where to play him. It was just kind of, what do we do? And he's just gotten stronger and better. It's just sometimes it's we have really good players that get a lot of recognition, but I think that's probably the best part about the group we have right now is the selflessness. It's, numbers wise, they're pretty good. Are they numbers what they are in the past? No, they're probably less, but we have more guys carrying it with Hank and Braden Bozzer, Logan Vincent. Ben's distributed the ball to a lot of different guys. And so as far as a glue guy, it's just probably, that offensive line just coming back together, and guy that maybe doesn't get as much credit, but Evan Wrench making plays for us on the D line.
Final thing for me, Matt, before I let you go, Matt Weidler, again, for the Aggies perspective here ahead of our opening kickoff with the Kindred Vikings and the Dakota Bowl Championship in Division A. Biggest thing the Aggies have to do well once you get to kickoff coming up here, Matt, is what? To try to come out with a championship.
Well, we have to block really well. We have to tackle really well. I mean, it's the little things, I think, and these games, the fundamental stuff. Take care of the football. Stay ahead of the chains offensively, try and get Kindred into 3rd and long. They're really, really good at running the football and giving themselves 3rd and short. Field position becomes key in special teams, all those things that maybe get overlooked, so to speak, in regular season games, depending on the score. But those are things, special teams, field position, check the football. Just little things are going to be very, very important and key for our guys this morning.
Hey, Matt, thanks so much for your time and best of luck here today against the Vikings.
You bet. Thanks. Appreciate it.
We'll continue on our pregame show after this from the Fargo Dome. The Ringneck is the perfect stop for lunch or dinner in Leonard, North Dakota. They have a wide variety menu from burgers, wraps, steak, chicken, and seafood. For that small-town family-owned dining experience, check out the Ringneck today. To place an order ahead of time for takeout, call 701-645-2461. That's 701-645-2461. For more information and daily food specials, search the Ringneck on Facebook. That's the Ringneck in Leonard.
I'm PJ Rund, and I live in Mission Court in Ada, Minnesota. Here, a lot of people like it here. Well, what could be better?
I'm Molly, and I have lived here a little over 3 years now. I like the fact that I don't have stairs or elevators, and there's always some activities around here.
You can't help but like it here. That's what I say.
Coming down with the Kindred Vikings head football coach here in Eric Bergat, part of our pregame conversation is they will tangle with the Aggies of Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison here in the Division A football championship, the first of 4 Dakota Bowl matchups here. And Eric, first things first, congratulations on making it to the Dakota Bowl again. I know it's no small feat every season trying to find a way to get to the Fargo Dome. Let's just recap the Central Cass game before we talk about the Aggies and the week that is the prep week of Dakota Bowl week. What'd you like best from your team for 4 quarters of football? Seen some adversity early where Central Cass took the opening drive, scored. You guys came right back, tied things up at 7 apiece, and it was a ball game after that. But what'd you like best about your team in that semifinal round win, Eric?
That we had answers throughout the game. It was a lot of momentum swings, a lot of back and forth, trading blows, and they played. I thought they played really well. It's tough to not have a false narrative in your head, or for your kids not to have a false narrative in their head when you play a game earlier in the season. The spread of points is, significant, and we just knew it wasn't going to be like that the second go around. So you try to get the kids to understand that, try to get them to remember what got them to this point, and all those things. And through the course of the game, they gave us some things offensively that we were not prepared for. That first drive was hard, as many opening drives are, and they go down, bang, 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 7 points on the board, and it's like, holy cow, we're in for a football game. But throughout, the kids just found answers. They didn't waver. They never got too high, too low. So pretty tough group, pretty tough game, and I was happy at just how our kids responded throughout the course of the battle.
Going up against a team you open up the season with the Aggies. From the poll perspective, you guys have pretty much been 1-2 throughout the course of the year. They've taken care of business on the western side of the state, and they're half of the bracket as to Eric. So I know you've probably been asked this question a lot this week. Can you take anything from that August matchup, or how have both teams, I guess the better question is, how have both teams evolved to when you put the Aggies on film now compared to what you saw, back in August here, Eric?
Yeah, I think you take things away from it. It's a film that we've watched quite a bit as coaches, and we watch it with our kids too. But just seeing how they want to attack your structures, how they want to attack our defensive structure, how they want to defend our, any given offensive formation that we present them. So it's mainly alignment assignment, when you look back at that game. And I think we've made strides over the course of the season, and I definitely think they've made strides over the course of the season. They look like a really sharp football team right now, and they have all season. They're a good football team when we played them the first go around. In that first go around, it did feel like a week 1 game. I felt like we left a lot of things on the field, and I think they would probably tell you the same, that they left a lot of things on the football field, a lot of mental mistakes, a lot of first game type mistakes. So it's hard to predict, what the flow of the game will be, whether it'll be another low scoring battle or whether it's going to be a shootout. You try not to get hung up on that. It's just knowing, what they present that's challenging and how we want to counter it.
Ben Shep, obviously a really good quarterback. They can hurt you in different ways, too, on the ground with Bossard and Bodine. When I look at the stats here, Eric, I noticed on offense, both teams averaging big yards, through the air, averaging big yards on the ground, those explosive plays. When you look at this team, is it kind of almost looking in the mirror in roundabout ways in terms of how they go about things and how you go about things, once you get to kickoff coming up?
A little bit, yeah. And I think you always got to be able to run the football to win playoff football games, and they got a back that can absolutely do it. And then, their quarterback is really good at running the football too, and that's very similar to us. We got a kid in the backfield who gets it done, a couple kids in the backfield who get it done, and then our quarterback is good with his legs too. And you couple that with a couple big just very capable receivers stretching the football field, go up and get it type athletes. You see that on both teams between, our kids, Brooks and Isaac and Sawyer and Hunter and, all the kids that we throw the ball to. And then number 24 for them, number 12 for them. They got a lot of good players. So it's fun to play a game when you know that, you can kind of just send the kids out and let them be playmakers. You got to do that sometimes. That you can't over scheme it necessarily. If you got confidence in a kid, you got to let them, just cut it loose. And that's kind of the goal for Friday, is that the kids cut it loose.
Both teams have been to the Dakota Bowl recently. You guys obviously last year, and then obviously the Aggies, 2 years ago. So how can that experience help? You and I were talking way back in August, bringing back 15 to 22 starters on both sides of the ball. So there's guys that have been through this run before. They've been here a little earlier in the morning this year compared to, last year when it was closer to the noon hour here, Eric. But what is that experience like, knowing what the Fargo, 18,000 seats, playing indoors for the first time all year? How does that help a club going into a matchup like this with the title?
It helps a lot, just with so many little things. Just the one, how we're going to prepare throughout the week with, you lose a day because you play your semifinal game Saturday and then you got to turn around and play again on Friday. So that day of prep you miss. And so we changed our schedule championship week a little bit. And, the kids experienced that last year. They understand how it works. And then all the stuff pregame always feels a little funky too. And I gotta say, our parent group is so awesome. Like the moms of our team that have been talking to me all week, it's, hey, we can do whatever you need us to do, but we know you like very little distractions. So they kind of just let us do our thing and focus on football, and that's really helpful because the playoffs are a grind mentally and physically, and you play a game like we did against Central Cass on Saturday. That takes a lot out of you, and it takes a long time to recover from. So just trying to keep the main thing this week. 2 hard days of practice where we go after each other, and our typical Thursday pregame practice, and that's all familiar for the kids. And then the locker rooms, just where are the play clocks in the Fargo Dome, where's the score clock, talking about TV timeouts, the difference in temperature. Our playoff games, it's been about 40 degrees throughout the 3 postseason games we played. Now we'll be looking at 70 degrees. So hydration is typically a thing you don't harp on too much in the playoffs, but this week you have to, because it will feel different. So it's nice to have a veteran group. It makes everything easier.
Last thing for me, Eric, before we let you go, ultimately, once you get to kickoff around, 9-10 here this morning and get ready for a really good contest against a really quality opponent, what's the biggest thing that the Vikings have to do to try to come out with another championship?
We got to be the more physical football team. And, it's easy to say that that's up to our offensive and defensive line, but I think that's every single position group, whether you play corner, whether you play wide receiver, running back, quarterback. I think, the more physical team on Friday morning will come out on top in this game.
Eric, as always, thanks so much for your time, and best of luck here against the Aggies.
Thanks, Chase.
Eric Burgad, head coach of the Kindred Vikings, will continue on the pregame after this here from the Fargo Dome.
There's a new inventory of trailers at Bloomfield Enterprises of Hillsborough. You can see the latest inventory online at bloomfieldtrailers.com. Bloomfield Enterprises has a full line of Big Tex trailers. Big Tex has affordable and versatile utility trailers for all your jobs. Big Tex has a full line of products from ATV trailers to gooseneck to dump trailers and more. Call Larry at 218-368-7989 or Tim at 701-430-0877. Bloomfield Enterprises in Hillsboro.
We love our pets. Accidents and messes included. Shaw Floor's Pet Perfect Carpet helps you love confidently with protection from everyday messes and odors. Designed with the whole family in mind, Pet Perfect features built-in protection from staining, fading, and pet hair. Make tails wag with Shaw Floor's Pet Perfect. Designed for you, perfect for your pet.
Available at Carpet World, 17th Avenue South, online at carpetworldfargo.com.
Growers, prepare your fields and yields against the wet conditions for 2025 and beyond with a drain tile project from Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. Drain tiling will improve and increase your yields and land values for years to come. Chad's Excavating provides free, detailed estimates, and with over 40 years of combined success, they provide professional installation and service. Call Chad today to prepare for your future and any questions that you might have. That's Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
As we come back here from the Pregame, it's the North Dakota State Football Championship featuring the Kindred Vikings and alongside the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies. We will get to our starting lineups after the opening kick here today, brought to you in part by American Crystal Sugar Company. Live the sweet life with great careers, quality products for our own. Go to crystalsugar.com. Chase Miller, Nathan Hoots with you here today as the Vikings will put this one on the tee, and the opening kick is at 9:08 on a Friday morning. And welcome to the Dakota Bowl inside the Pregame. This one's going to run under Bruner, that takes him all the way back at the 3, and he's going to break a couple of tackles, but eventually the Vikings stone him at the 2-yard line. Welcome to a kick on turf as that went right through the 5-hole of Bruner, and eventually the Vikings pounce, and it'll be a first down and 10 at the 2.
I would guess the Velva coaches, as every coach by this time has probably said it 1,000 times, you've got to catch that ball in the air. Hesitated just a little bit, and then that turf monster just ate it up. It's going to be some big play calls here to start this one.
Our American Crystal Sugar starting lineups here for the Aggies. At centers, Jaden Foss, Maiden Barstead at left guard with Gage Roberts at right guard. Tackles of Matt Bryant and Zach Volson. Will get to the rest here after this play. Shotgun formation. Quickly they get the football out to Bodine, and the Vikings close to a safety. They nearly got him. It's a loss of one. Hunter Bindis came out of a cannon and made an open field tackle.
That's really important to remember when you're backed up this far. If any part of the ball makes it outside of that end zone line, it is not going to be a safety, and it is where first contact is made. They drove him back into the end zone, and there were a lot of people screaming for a safety, but all you got to do is get that tip of the football past the end zone here.
Also part of our starting lineups here, Ben Shep, the quarterback, with Hank Bodine at tailback, Bossard at fullback, with wide receivers of Reggie Bruner, Eigelhart, Kyle Volson, the tight end, Matt Yoakum, another wide receiver. They'll spread things out, trips to the left, 2 to the near sideline here. Ben Shep in the gun, pocket collapses. Schnepp trying to evade a safety, does. Open space in front of him at the 5-10, and he pops the pads down to the 15 and make it the 16-yard line. They brought for a little stunt. Shep was able to get through it for a gain of nearly 16.
Well done by the offensive line of the Aggies there. They did run that stunt, as you said, but they had 2 guys assigned to Star Sufficient. There's no way that he was going to get to that quarterback. He might have gotten away with a little bit of a tackle on him, but that was really well done. You can tell they were man-to-man, so as soon as those guys turned their back, Shep was off and running.
As also on the American Crystal Sugar starting lineups for the Vikings, Lincoln Swenson and Luke Starcevic here at defensive end spots. Fornshell, the nose guard. Stroh, Tyson Johnson, Tannen Johnson, and Bindis at linebackers. Jack McDonald, Baco at corner, Spellhog and Swenson at the safety spot. Shotgun formation, almost like a wildcat play as they make their way to the left side of the formation to about the 19-yard line on the gain upcoming here for the Aggies and Ben Schnepp.
Yeah, some interesting alignment there from Kindred. They left their lone corner on this side, Jack McDonald. They must really trust him in one-on-one coverage. They slid the safeties all the way to the opposite side of the field. So they must be very confident that he can guard anybody one-on-one.
As you will bring up a second down upcoming. That again is our American Crystal Sugar starting lineups. Live the sweet life, great careers, quality products. Go to crystalsugar.com. crystalsugar.com. We'll get to the starting lineups here for the Vikings and Aggies when they flip the field, but eventually we'll continue. Under 10 minutes to play here in the opening quarter. Aggies 2nd down and 7. as you'll have the quarterback bench scampering again, and Shep makes his way past the 30, breaks a tackle to the 34-yard line, and the early MO is give your senior quarterback the ball and let him make some backyard plays.
Yeah, I think as soon as he realizes that he has any type of a gap, they get 5 to 6 receivers out in the formation there. That just opens up so much space for him to be able to run.
First down and 10 upcoming for the Aggies, draped in their all-white uniforms, white helmets, the blue numerals outlining gold with the blue and yellow piping down the side. Shotgun again, the Vikings with 3 down linemen. Hand up, Bodine makes his way to left-hand side. He gets tripped up at about the 35 to the 36, and for the first time today, Bodine with a carry of 2 yards.
And if you're a coach on the Aggie sideline right now, even if you don't score, and you want to score on every single possession, that's obvious, but you've already won this drive by getting it out of the shadow of your own end zone, not necessarily flipping the field, but even if you're unable to get another first down here, a punt should be able to flip the field in general here, starting in your own 2.
Yeah, 9 minutes to play here in the quarter. 2nd and 8, ball between the hashes at the Aggie 36-yard line, going from the south to the north end zone, or left to right as we see it here at the Fargo Dome. Another read option. Bodine makes a cut inside of the 40. Oh, hammers the level down to the 45. Bodine with a gain of 9.
Yeah, he kind of ran through the initial line of scrimmage a little high, but as soon as he found someone to run over, his pad level lowered significantly, and he laid the boom right there.
As you'll have a 1st and 10 upcoming. The one thing talking again with Eric Burgad, the Central Cass Squirrels were able to get a touchdown. They got up early against Kindred, but the Vikings immediately responded. That's something that Eric Burgad said in our pregame show. He liked the response from his team, and he always mentions the first drive of the game is always the most difficult for a defense because you're never sure what you're going to get. But Starcevic with a clothesline. No one guarded the big 6'5" sophomore, and Starcevic comes up with a tackle for a loss.
Yeah, I don't think there was ever a play where they had designed where they were going to one-on-one block him and let him get an inside leverage play right there, but that they also got a little bit lucky. If there would have been any type of a read there and he pulled it, it could have been a bigger play. I'm sure they had an outside linebacker sitting there waiting for him, but you can't allow the best player on the field to only have one guy on him.
So far, Ben Shep here, the senior quarterback, has kind of been the main show for the Aggies, and more so with his feet game, not so much with the rushing, not so much with the passing. Little
Heads
trick play here as they're going to give this one to Shep, and that's going to get blown up immediately. Back to the 32-yard line. They give it to Bodine, who eventually gives it to Yoakum, and then he's going to get hog-tied in the backfield for a sack of nearly 10 yards.
There was no fool in this sideline. As soon as Shep went in motion, kind of in a backwards direction, they were screaming for something funky, and everybody just stayed home, did their job, and the D-line got pressure. Is exactly what you need when there's any type of a trick play.
So 7:18 remaining now here in the quarter. Ball will be spotted at the 33-yard line. The Vikings there with Miles Stroh, part of the blocking party or the tackling party there for Kindred. Trips to left-hand side, shotgun formation. Vikings with 3 linemen, 2 well out on the edges here, the defensive end spot. Shep steps up, and Shep's going to get the football off, and it's going to be incomplete at the 24. Give a lot of credit on the outside there. It looked like Swenson providing some of it was. Lincoln Swenson able to get there and nearly able to get Ben to the ground. Shep gets that football off, but it's incomplete. Would have been 5 yards short of the line to gain.
Yeah, the interior pressure is not getting there right now from Kindred, but their guys on the edge are really getting there. So Shep's going to have to do a good job of stepping up in that pocket maybe a half a second sooner. He did have a guy open. Like you said, it was 5 yards short, though.
Punting here is going to be the quarterback in Shep, as Ben will be back at his own 21. Brooks Bacco stands back at his own 35. Line drive kick to Bacco at the 36. Bacco at the 40, in between the hashes, 45, and Bacco spins his way near to midfield. Good starting field position for the Vikings. 6:45 remaining here in the opening quarter. It's the Kindred Vikings having their first crack on the football here offensively.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think if you would have told the Aggie coaches at the beginning of that possession that, hey, you're going to punt it away and they're going to have the ball on their side of the 50, you're probably pretty happy with how that happened. Unfortunately, the last couple of plays came to a standstill with the failed trick play. A lot of times that's it's obviously a boom or bust type of play, and it was a bust on that one. They'll come up with something later, though.
We'll get to our American Crystal Sugar starting lineups here for the Vikings and Aggies now defensively. Jake Starcevic in the shotgun. Swenson lines up to his left. Kylan with the football spins his way to the 50, inside to about the 47-yard line. Kylan Swenson with Tyson Johnson, Sawyer Hess, and Bacco at wide receiver spot. Tight end of Hunter Bindis, left tackle of Tannen Johnson, Miles Stroh, Tate Miller the center, Ethan Fornshell at at guard and Luke Starcevic at right tackle. Well, for the Aggies, 3 down linemen of Kyle Volson, Gage Roberts, and Evan Wrench. You have Reggie Bruner with Legge, Bodine, and Eigelhart at linebackers, with Yoakum and Stefan at corners, and Bossert and Vincent at free safety. That again is our American Crystal Sugar starting lineups. Go to crystalsugar.com. As we'll have our first penalty of the game after about a gain of 5 yards. We'll see what the procedure is with our white hat here today in Todd Fisher. False start on the Vikings, so that'll push him back. Also a note, Volson's, yes, related, Drake-Anamoose-Garrison. The Aggies able to take part of it. You got an older brother that's playing in the National Football League, so the Volson name's still around those parts, Hoots.
Yeah, and I just remember a couple years ago watching him in the state championship game. That was the first year that Drake-Anamoose joined Velva, and they were unable to participate in that year. You know, it's if you got bloodlines like that, you know you're going to be a talented player.
2nd down and 10 upcoming. Little play action. Starcevic pops, fires, throws on a slant to Bacco near the sticks, and that looks to be enough for 11 yards. Bacco just did a good job, Hoots, on the near sideline at the numbers. Took 5 yards, faked that he was going to go out, put his foot on the ground, and got a nice little post pattern there for a first down.
Yeah, and along with a great route, you know, Starcevic put it right on him. That was a fantastic throw. It was an absolute joy just being able to watch him throw passes in warm-ups, so I'm really looking forward to the next 3.5 quarters with him at quarterback.
1st down and 10, under 5:30 left to play here in the opening quarter. Vikings in the Aggie side of the formation now at their own 41-yard line of the field. 4 down linemen for the Aggies. Motion man goes Swenson to the backfield. They'll fake it to him. Starcevic, QB, little keeper up the middle. Starcevic weaving his way, spinning his way past tackles at the numbers to 30. Breaks another one, juke step to the 25, and Starcevic slithers his way to the 26, a gain of 15.
Yeah, remember when I mentioned in the pregame you should probably force him to try to run. I'm going to take that back. I'll admit I was wrong there. But whenever you see a guy with that size of the brace on his knee, and obviously knowing that he missed some games here, I mean, you said 6 throughout the year, you know, you want to force a guy to have to prove that his knee is good, and I think that play right there just did that.
It's the Kindred Vikings and the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies here today on yourliveevent.com. 4:50 remaining here in this opening quarter. The Vikings 2 wide receivers, right shotgun formation for Starcevic. Inside handoff goes to Swenson. Kylan makes a man miss as this one is able to get to the 15 and near down the 14-yard line. And so far the offensive line, Hoots, not having their way necessarily with the Aggies, but they're opening up holes and lanes here, whether it's for Starcevic or Swenson early on.
Yeah, like you said, they're not creating big lanes, but he's doing a really good job of making I guess every Viking player has done a real good job of making that first guy miss. And you don't have to be perfect up front, but if you can just be slightly better, knowing that your back that has the ball is going to make the first guy miss, that's when you can pop off chunk plays.
As you'll have a 2nd down and 1 now, ball spotted on the near hash at the Aggie 15-yard line. Chase Miller, Nathan Hoots with you here today for our first of 2 games from the Dakota Bowl. Twins to the near sideline in the slot. Here for the Vikings is Sawyer Hess. Starcevic keeps it. We have another flag, and it'll either be a loss of 2 yards if you're Matt Weiler and bring up 3rd and 3, or more than likely it'll be an illegal formation or a false start on the Vikings and bring up a 2nd and 6. We'll see what the penalty's on. Our white hat again, Todd Fisher, will indicate it is against the Vikings. And we'll see if they want to move him back 5 or make it 3rd and about 2 or 3, and they'll say illegal formation. So 2nd penalty on the drive for the Vikings. Now they have 10 yards, and this will make it a 2nd and 6.
Yeah, I think you got to push him back. I think Kindred's proven, not just today, but throughout the entire year, that 2 downs to get 1 or 2 yards is very likely they're going to pick that up. So push him back and see if maybe you can get another negative play here. And, you know, now that we're playing with 11 man, field goal range is certainly a possibility, so I'm interested to see what kind of that range they have here.
1 wide receiver, both left and right. Motion man here will be Tyson Johnson in the backfield as Kylan Swenson's going to get met, and for the first time the Aggies bring some pressure, and for the first time they get home defensively. Evan Wrench on the tackle for a loss.
Yeah, a couple guys, I think they probably want to hold their zone block in there. You probably want to hold on to that block for maybe another half a second or so to move up to the 2nd level, and you know, did a really good job. The defensive line did shed that block, get in the backfield, break down, make the play.
Andrew Haley is 39 of 47 from PATs, but has not made a field goal here this season for the Kindred Vikings, as this is definitely 4-down territory. Play clock to 7 seconds, and Eric Bergham's going to take our first time out, brought to you in part by Kindred State Bank. and Insurance Agency. Timeout on the field, 2:52 remaining in the quarter. It's the Kindred Vikings having a third down and a long 6 when we come back on your liveevent.com.
At Enbridge, we're focused on relationships. 23 Canadian First Nation and Métis communities now own an equity stake in Enbridge Athabasca Pipelines. In Minnesota, Enbridge has spent $450 million and counting with Native-owned companies and in wages to tribal members working on Line 3. Every day brings new collaborations, partnerships, and possibilities. Learn more at Enbridge.com.
Let the geeks at GK Technology help you with your agricultural data. Their agronomists know agriculture. When it comes to creating soils and zone maps to maximize yields in your fields, you can trust the people with decades of experience in site-specific agriculture. Everyone at GK Technology has a background in agriculture, so they know what makes a farm run, and they speak your language. The geeks at GK Technology have a map and an app for that.
High school football today here on yourliveevent.com. Timeout on the play brought to you in part by Kindred State Bank and Insurance Agency. From banking to insurance, let Kindred State Bank and Insurance Agency handle your requests. For more information, go online to kindredstatebank.com. That again is kindredstatebank.com. 2:52 remaining in the first quarter. The Kindred Vikings and the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies tied at 0. First possession here for the Vikings that started back at their own 48-yard line with 6:45 left in the quarter. Jake Starcevic comes out, little speed option play, pitches it to Swenson. Swenson gets the numbers at the 20 to the 15, has a block to the 10, and it's going to be a first and goal opportunity for Swenson on the speed option.
It's a lot of fun being right down here on the sideline with those guys coming full speed right at you here. There's a lot of large high school football players out here with a lot of speed. This is a lot of really good athletes out on the field.
Yeah, you talk about Ethan Fornshell, 5'10", 245. We mentioned Starcevic, 6'5", 240. Tannen Johnson, 6', 200. And then you look at the nose guard here of the Aggies, 6', 215. And Gage Roberts, it's a first and goal opportunity at the far hash for the Vikings. One wide receiver split on either side. This could be Brooks Bacco time, one-on-one on the near side. But Starcevic keeps it, makes a cut at the 5, misses a man at the 2, and he walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Kindred. Jake Starcevic scampers in from 8 yards out, and the Vikings strike first here at the Fargo Dome.
Yeah, once again, that first guy doesn't make the play. There's going to be big plays to be had. I mean, if that would have been in the middle of the field, he would have ran for another 30 yards. So kudos to those guys up front. They're doing the job. They, like I said, just got to win by a little bit and then let your guy handling the football make your guy miss.
Haley will come on for the point after attempt, right-footed kick end over end. This one able to split. Nope, they're going to say no good from our vantage point. Looked like it might have went in, but it is no good. However, the Vikings do cap a 52-yard touchdown drive, 4 minutes and 5 seconds with the score here, and that is again via Starcevic. Back after this with kickoff.
There's more at 104. Hillsboro, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsboro and see why there's more at 104.
High school football today here on yourliveevent.com. After that Kindred State Bank and Insurance Agency timeout, a couple plays, and they're able to eventually get in the end zone there for the Kindred Vikings. And Hoots, what impressed you most about Kindred's opening drive?
I think, they never really missed a blocking assignment except for one play on that 2nd and 5 when Velva pushed them back a couple yards. But besides that, they were getting positive yards every single time. The offensive line was winning by just a bit, creating just small creases. And then I don't know if Velva made first contact tackles the entire possession.
Andrew Haley puts this one on the tee at the 40-yard line, end over end kicked, as Bruner will retrieve it between the hashes at the 10. Gets the 15 at the numbers, now at the 25, and he makes his way to about the 28-yard line before he's wrapped up there by Hunter Bindis. 1st and 10 for the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies upcoming as the clock has reset inside the Fargo Dome. Now it says 2:35.
A lot more comfortable starting field position here for Velva, so maybe the playbook opens up a little bit here to begin this possession. a lot of different things they ran in that first possession between quarterback run, quarterback power, and then 4 and 5 wide receiver passing plays. So it'll be interesting to see how they start this possession.
As you'll see, the Aggies coming out here with the football to make it one wide receiver on either side. Shotgun formation. Handoff goes to Bodine. Bodine spins his way, but right on cue, Tyson Johnson and Luke Starcevic, the 1-2 combination with the tag team tackle, and that'll make it a 2nd and 10. So far, Bodine just has been able to do 2 carries for 1 of 0 yards, 1 of 2 yards, and his big one was one that was on a little read option for 9. So far, 3 carries for 11 yards.
Yeah, certainly their most successful play thus far has been spreading it out and then letting Shep run, between the tackles. I think with only 3 down linemen, Velva's got to be able to create some creases inside the numbers here. 2
wide receivers left, 1 to the right, little wing T almost, but in a shotgun formation for Shep, and Shep trying to go right through the teeth of that defense for the Vikings, and doing a good job there for Kindred, kind of opening up a little bit of the wall, if you will. It was Kelby Erdman, the 6'1 senior, to make the first stop, and now it's a 3rd down and long.
This is a big time play. The last thing you want to do is be playing from behind against Kindred with their ability to run the ball. If you would have to punt it here and then possibly be looking down the line of being down 2 scores, that could be a hill too hard to climb.
Yeah, the Kindred Vikings 6-0 here with 1:19 remaining in this first quarter. Trips to the right, 1 to the left, shotgun formation for Shep. Vikings will see the Aggies call a timeout. Timeout again brought to you in part by Kindred State Bank and Insurance Agency here inside the Fargo. So both teams have taken an early timeout here, Hoots, which I don't think is any surprise in situations, especially in the first half, where you want to make sure you have a good, in this case, Eric Bergen wanted a good offensive set for the Vikings. They got it. And now on this side for Matt Weidler for the Aggies, want a good offensive set, to your point earlier, knowing that, hey, if you're going to punt this football back, and Kindred does score down the field, and so far it's been a lot of time in between these possessions where your offense gets the ball back here.
Yeah, and coaches I think are a little more willing to use timeouts in this situation to make sure you have the right play called in the first half. Second half, you're looking at trying to hold on to those timeouts for late game situations so that you don't have to rush, with 2 minutes or less to go. So it's never a bad idea if you don't like the alignment of the defense. And you saw there, they had 3 defensive linemen lined up to my left of the center, and maybe they didn't like the protection for Shep on that play, that maybe they had some type of a rollout to that strong side and they didn't like the way it looked. So just, hey, let's get something different here. And now they're coming out with 5 wide, and look for that quarterback draw that they've had such success with so far.
Again, Kindred State Bank Insurance Agency timeout. Shep, 3-man rush, gets this one across the middle. That's going to be caught, and a first down to Eigelhart. Eigelhart able to get to the 45-yard line. It's a gain of 13, but you saw Ben took a shot in the back as Swenson.
Actually one of the linemen that's down there, yeah.
Okay, Swenson was able to come around and quickly get to Ben, and this is large as Selzer was injured in the first game of the season here for the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies, and was one of their best offensive linemen, and now all of a sudden you have another offensive lineman down. This looks to be Matt Bryant, the left tackle for the Aggies, and that's going to be a big spot with the tackle position, as we will take a pause here and return. Oh, no, Bryant is able to put a little bit of pressure, but he's not putting too much weight on that right ankle right now here for the Aggies. Hoots, what does the tackle position do when you got Swenson, who is just a bull rusher, Starcevic, who can do a little bit of everything here with his defensive ends from the Kindred perspective, with now having a new left tackle into the game? Yeah,
that is certainly going to add a lot of problems. The defensive ends thus far for Kindred have gotten pressure on virtually every single time that they've dropped back to pass. The interior defense or offensive line for Velva has been pretty solid, but as you saw there, it was right off the snap. They ran just a little stunt on the inside, and then the outside, the edge rusher got underneath of that tackle. Now you're bringing in a backup, and I'm sure they have a high quality backup with the amount of guys they have on their team, but anytime you're putting a backup in against this star-studded defensive line, they're probably going to be looking to roll away from that man that just checked in.
And good news for the Aggies, they do get the first down. 50 seconds remaining here in this first quarter of play as the Aggies quickly hustle to the line. As they will send the Aggies here. Little read option on the flip screen. This one will go out to Eigelhart, and Eigelhart, good pursuit here. Not going to be able to get much from the Vikings. There's a late flag on the play, and I think they're going to call the Vikings here for a late penalty. I'm not sure it needed to be called in terms of the corner there, and also for the Vikings with Jake Starcevic already had his man on the tackle, but at the end of the day, they're going to say that they blew the whistle, and then throwing him to the ground, I think, Hoots, is what they're going to call eventually.
And you just got to see the replay there up on the big screen, which is kind of nice. We don't have that in Hope. As he was letting him go, guiding him to the ground, he didn't throw him down. He kind of, held on to him and let him fall. That might be a little ticky-tack, but we'll see how the rest of the game's officiated.
Yeah, as long as it's consistent, that'll be the main thing. Bodine goes right up Broadway, past the 30 to the 25, and he barrel rolls his way to the 24-yard line.
I think that was the first snap of the game under center there for Velva, and I think they might realize, hey, maybe with our tackle out, we go to that inside run game. We put the quarterback under center and see what we can do, because like I've mentioned several times now, the inside of that offensive line has been pretty effective. And maybe, put them in some run blocking situations here and let them eat.
Yeah, Evan Wrench now at right tackle, and they will move Zach Olson again at the left tackle spot. Motion man going back to his position there is Kyle Volson, the tight end, and that'll be the end of the opening quarter. The Aggies on a drive, 1st and 10 at the Vikings 23. After one quarter of play, it's Kindred 6. The Aggies scoreless. That's the North Dakota Division A Football Championship from the Dakota Bowl on yourliveevent.com.
The Ringneck is the perfect stop for lunch or dinner in Leonard, North Dakota. They have a wide variety menu from burgers, wraps, steak, chicken, and seafood. For that small-town family-owned dining experience, check out the Ringneck today. To place an order ahead of time for takeout, call 701-645-2461. That's 701-645-2461. For more information and daily food specials, search the Ringneck on Facebook. That's the Ringneck in Leonard.
Are you looking for your next vacation rental? Call or text Mason at Cleave Guard Rentals 701-552-3181. Family fun, girls getaway, retreats and get-togethers. Call or text Mason 701-552-3181. Located on West McDonald Lake, your vacation awaits.
Lakes Community Co-op delivers more than just propane into a tank. They deliver a commitment to customer safety with professional, knowledgeable service. Lakes Community Co-op propane customers can relax because having a monitored tank allows Lakes Community Co-op to know tank levels and therefore make timely deliveries. This takes away all your worries. Call 1-888-935-2281 for propane from Lakes Community Co-op. For more information, visit lakescommunitycoop.com.
Dakota Bowl here on yourliveevent.com as the Aggies will come out. 1st down and 10 at the Kindred. Now 23-yard line going towards the south end zone. Bodine, little power play. And speaking of power, he will power his way to about the 15-yard line. They're getting past that first level, Hoots, with the I formation. Starcevic is in the defensive side of the football here today for the Vikings, but that's going to make it now a 2nd down and about 2 in Starcevic. We're not talking about Luke, we're talking about Jake, who didn't play a ton of defense against Central Cass in the semifinals.
Yeah, I didn't see him in the starting lineups initially. That was presented to us early, but I think Velva might have found something here with that interior run game. But as soon as I said that, 2 smaller defensive linemen jogged off the field and 2 big fellas jogged onto the field, I think, to do exactly what I just talked about, stop that inside run game.
So you got Barstead and Volson and Voss from the center spot is Voss, Volson at the left. That's where they've been running the last couple of plays. 2nd and 2, they will pitch this one out to Bossard, who's going to get tackled in the backfield by Jake Starcevic for a loss of 2.
Interesting to see them go away from that inside run game on that 2nd and short there. You either look, do what you've been doing, which is that inside run game, or maybe go play action, try to suck in those linebackers and hit that tight end over the middle, maybe a crossing receiver from the inside slot. But there are a lot of studs in blue right now that aren't going to allow you to do a whole lot.
And you're able to make that pitch play, and immediately there unblocked was Starcevic, so Jake will get the tackle for a loss. It'll be a 3rd down upcoming here for the Aggies. One wide receiver split out to the right-hand side is Bruner. Twins to the near sideline in a tight formation. Bruner going right to left across the formation. They will fake it to him. Shep able to keep this one past the 15, spins his way to the 14. He might be a half-yard shy depending on the spot. It looks like it'll be a 4th down.
Those defensive linemen from Kindred, they just flew to the ball there, and they ran a bit of a read, and they knew as soon as the read was going away from them, they could just try to wash straight down the line of scrimmage, and all of those guys were just sliding with that play. There was no way that was going very far.
He's Nathan Hoots. I'm Chase Miller. This is the North Dakota Bowl Championship Division A football game. 15 seconds on the play clock as Bodine's going to have to hurry as he gives the play call to his quarterback and Ben Shep as they will break the huddle and almost sprint to the line. 5 seconds, now to 4. This might be the Reggie Bush or Jalen Hurts tush push. Instead, it's just a QB keeper. Does he have enough? He was trying to get over the defensive line spot there of Miles Stroh, who came in at that outside linebacker spot, almost played it as a D-end. It's really going to have to depend on the spot here, Hoots. And they're not even going to bring the chains out. The white hat across the far side, Todd Fisher says it is not a first down, and it will be a turnover on downs. And you see a couple Aggies players saying, hey, why don't you bring the chains out to measure it? They're not going to do so.
They needed
It'll
to get
be a turnover on downs.
They needed to get to the 13-yard line, and the back end of the football is on the 14. So they're a good almost 3/4 of a yard short.
So they're going to be short. Nathan Hoots is right at the sticks, which is better yet for Eagle Eyes down right there. Perfectly done, Hoots, on your sideline color commentary.
Well, unfortunately, they ran the sneak away from me, and it looked like the ball even got on the ground. Kindred was thinking they maybe even got a fumble, but either way, they got the ball here.
9:50 remaining in the opening half. Ball will be at the 14. Little speed option. Starsvik's going to keep it past the 15, and a good pursuit by the Aggies. But the one thing that Starsvik does so well, Hoots, not going to make a bad decision. Maybe there was an opportunity to make the pitch, but he eventually turned it up. And then even when he gets hit, he still falls forward for an extra 1 or 2 yards. And what looked like a 0-yard play became a 4-yard rush.
And I'm guessing he's been schooled most of the year. Hey, if we're going to run that play here inside our, their 20, that's probably fake pitch. Keep that thing. Let's not put the ball in the air. If we're going to hand the ball off, that's fine, but let's not put the ball in the air on the option.
As you will have second quarter here again on yourliveevent.com after the start here for the Vikings. One drive for a touchdown. What does their second one have? Well, Swenson gets bear hugged right in the A gap and able to come down with that one here for the Aggies. On the interior was Evan Wrench.
That was a fantastic play. He stood his guy up straight underneath him, swam underneath, and then made the play. The whole time he was being held, and he still made the play. That was a tremendous play.
For the Aggies, a punt and turnover on downs on their 2 possessions. For the Vikings, their first drive went 52 yards, took 4 minutes and 5 seconds off the clock, capped off by a Jake Starsvik 8-yard rushing touchdown. Aggies got to a 3rd down defensively. The Vikings need 5. At the far hash at the 19, they need the 24. Starsvik in the shotgun formation. He will have a play action. Starsvik off his back foot, throws one up in the field. This one is going to be intercepted. The Aggies have it at the 30. The Aggies to the 25, and the Aggies come up with a one-handed grab for the 2nd interception of the season for Braden Bossert.
A lot of times you talk about, coverage sacks, you get all that, but in this case, it was the defensive line pressure forced a bad throw, and we got an interception because of the pressure from the defensive line. So that was, kind of the opposite of what you call a coverage sack, but that was a great play and forced a bad throw, and I think if Starcevic could have that one back, he'd probably take it back. He didn't quite get what he thought he was going to get on it, but there were a lot of Aggies back there in the defensive backfield ready to pick that off.
Hunter Bindis was the intended wide receiver, and as you alluded to, Hoots, the defensive pressure forced Starcevic to throw off his back heel, and then it kind of was a duck by the time it was trying to get to Bindis as Bossert comes up with the interception. He'll play the fullback spot now, trying to open up a lane for Bodine, and Bodine spins his way, but Starcevic able to come in on the tackle. Also with him for the Kindred Vikings to wrap up here is Andrew Haley, and this is the one thing Kindred does so well throughout the course of the season, Hoots. They don't really miss a lot of open field or right at the line tackles.
Yeah, undisciplined teams right there, they hang their head, they're frustrated. Hey, we just gave up a big play. This is not an undisciplined football team. They made sure that, hey, we are going to put that one behind us. Let's get a defensive stop right here, and they started out well by, forcing that no gain right there. 2nd
and 10 for the Aggies, and what feels like a gotta-have-it kind of a drive. They go one-on-one outside. Bruner at the 5. Bruner with the catch. Bruner puts the helmet down. Bruner on the back shoulder pass, in for the touchdown. A 25-yard pitch and catch. Shep to Bruner, and the Aggies have tied this puppy up.
That's like you see on Sunday. That back shoulder throw is not something that's typically used a ton in high school football, in North Dakota at least. That was an excellent throw, and the whole time Baca was eyes on the receiver. He just looked a half a second too late. He was in great coverage, but that was a fantastic throw and catch.
So first down goes nothing. 2nd and 10, you go for the home run ball and you hit it. So 2 plays after the pick, they're able to get the they were able to get the touchdown, and now they go for the 2-point conversion. Twins both right and left. Motion man right to left across the formation. Shep, little play action going to the middle. Incomplete. Intended receiver was Kyle Volson. But with 7:32 remaining in the opening half, the pick eventually results in points for the Aggies, and we're tied at 6 here in the first half.
At Polar Communications, innovation is in our DNA. We're pioneers, always looking ahead to what's next to ensure our communities thrive. We were the first in the state to offer gig services, and we didn't stop there. We continue to lead the way in delivering high-quality, reliable technology to your doorstep. A better experience starts here.
Every Wednesday night at 7, watch the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show presented by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. Stay up to date with the latest goings-on in the region, as we'll hear from area coaches in North Dakota and Minnesota. Plus, we'll highlight area high school seniors on their achievements in the classroom and on the court with our Senior Spotlight. That's the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show presented by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation, Wednesday nights at 7 on YourLiveEvent.com.
A reminder, the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies did receive to start the game, so Kindred will open up the second half with the football. So this kind of becomes a large drive here, Nathan Hoots, after the turnover. 2 plays later, a 25-yard pitch and catch again from Shep. Eventually got it to his teammate in Bruner, and now they'll put this one on the tee. If the Vikings can try to score on this drive, and if they milk some clock off, what'll happen for the remainder of this half is there's a good run to about the 32-yard line in on the play for the Vikings with Brock Johnson.
Yeah, this is a big time drive. You never want to have a poor drive after you have an interception and play like you just had there from your quarterback. It just kind of looked like he panicked a bit when he got that pressure put on him. I'm guessing, I haven't seen a ton of Kindred football this year. He probably hasn't been pressured a whole lot this year with the skill level that he has on the offensive line in front of him. And he probably would like that back, maybe check it down next time or throw it in the ground, around the line of scrimmage, and this will be a big possession for him. And see if he can bounce back.
See what the Kindred Vikings can do. Ball again will be spotted at the 32-yard line here with 7:27 remaining. Handoff. This one will come up the middle. Swetson makes his way past the 35 to about the 38 for a gain of 6 yards. And this is one where, if you're the Vikings, yes, you'd like a 4-minute drive, but more importantly, Eric Bergad talking about the different results in a game like this. The team that's going to be more physical is going to win. And then on the opposite side, Matt Weidler said we got to play with eye discipline, Hoots, because they know that they're going to run the football. Yep. And then the Vikings on play action will take their opportunities. Well, they had a really good job on that eye discipline on that 3rd down play to get the pick.
Absolutely, yeah. They've done a real nice job thus far. There haven't been many chunk plays yet in this game except for that Velva touchdown right there.
2nd down, Starcevic, QB keeper, makes Eigelhart miss, and then Bruner will come up and try to pull at the right leg of Starcevic as Jake does get about 2, makes it 3rd down and 2.
But that he got positive 2, and it was an inch away from being negative 2 with that little shimmy that he got away from that defensive end right there. That went from now it's 3rd and 2. Yep. Instead of 3rd and 6, it's 3rd and 2, just because of that little move right there, and he made one guy miss. They left one guy unblocked, knowing that, hey, we're either reading him or my guy can make that guy miss, and he did just that.
It's the North Dakota Division A Football Championship here today. 4 champions will be crowned in North Dakota. Then you got NDSU football tomorrow against Missouri State in the afternoon. This turf is going to get a workout. Starcevic at the 40, QB keeper on the read option. Now we get a holding penalty more than likely coming where the flag was, but Starcevic might be about a half a football shy depending on the spot on the far side. So Matt Weiler says immediately just push him back regardless, and it'll be 3rd down and 12.
Yeah, would the spot have given him the 1st down or not?
He would have been about a half yard shy.
Yeah, that's right. Right call then.
So You'll see the penalties so far for the Aggies. They have 0, and for the Vikings, that is starting to be something that's adding up. 4 penalties for 35 yards. A reminder for both these teams have been awfully good. The Aggies, Larry Sandy, the legendary head coach, went out with a state championship 2 years ago. 282 wins, 10 state titles in program history during his tenure for the Aggies. They've been here second time in 3 years. The Vikings, they haven't lost since October 29th of 2022. It's been a 24-game winning streak here for Kindred. 3rd down and 12. Starcevic all day to throw. Goes across the middle. Baco at the 50, but he gets smet. Oh, what a play coming in at the defensive spot here by Ben Shep for the Aggies. He timed it perfectly.
I don't think you should be allowed to be that good of a quarterback and then make that great of a play on defense. That's almost unfair. That was absolutely perfect timing. As soon as Baco was crossing the field, I thought for sure that was going to be a giant chunk play for the Vikings, but that was a tremendous play by the DB there.
Going to be interesting to see. They had Baco going up on the middle, and then you have Bendis on the far side. Bendis had a chance to be open regardless. Baco puts this one up on the punt at the 37-yard line, and then we'll have a penalty here. Looks to be on the Aggies as the Aggies making their way with Eigelhart to about the 50 after about a 35-yard punt, and where the penalty is typically blocking the back or holding on the return.
I'd say likely is coming back.
Starcevic all day to throw. Baco timed it perfectly, but Ben Shep actually timed it better than Baco when he put the hit. And then again, Bendis was about 10 yards behind him, so we'll see how that comes into that formation later on. But there will be an illegal block in the back at about the 44-yard line, and they will mark it off from there. And the Aggies will now stand back at about the 34. And we got a media timeout on the field. We'll break with them. 5:22 remaining here in the opening half. It's a Division A football championship tied at 6. Aggies 1st and 10 at their own 34-yard line.
If you're ready for a great meal, head over to West Main Pizza in Ada and Dilworth. They have a variety of pizzas like Supreme, Barbecue Chicken, The Reuben, Grandma G's Sloppy Joe, BLT, Hawaiian, Vegetarian, and more. West Main Pizza also serves nachos and tacos, great pasta dishes, panini sandwiches, subs, and salads. West Main Pizza at 320 East Main Street in Ada and 111 15th Street Northeast in Dilworth. Check them out online at westmainpizza.net.
RDK, your local precision planting dealer in Hillsboro, is now Agassi Precision Ag.
RDK 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 is now Agassi Precision Ag. You heard that right. RDK Enterprises, your local precision planting dealer in Hillsboro, is now Agassi Precision Ag. Same location, employees, and customer service you deserve. Visit us at planterdoc.com.
Make sure you patronize all of our sponsors for allowing us to be here today. 5:22 on yourliveevent.com. Chase Miller, Nathan Hoots with you here today. Reminder, we will have coverage on the North Dakota 9-Man Football Championship between Lemoore Litchfield-Marion and New Rockford Cheyenne Maddock. And then tomorrow on yourliveevent.com, it's the EDC football, EDC volleyball state qualifiers and championship from Cheyenne starting at 11. As this will go up the middle on the way here for Bo Dean for about a gain of 3 to 4 yards. This will be 2nd down and 6 upcoming.
A lot of blue around the ball right there. That was impressive from how many, they're playing with, 6 or 7 in the box there, and they had probably 9 Aggies, and it was they were playing undermanned, but made a big time play right there. They need to stop here.
4:50 remaining in the half. Both teams with 2 timeouts left in this first half as they both took a timeout earlier on. 2 wide receivers in the near sideline, 1 to the right. Shotgun formation, single high safety. Shep will keep this one to about the 40-yard line and pushes a pile then on the little delayed extra push to the 41 and the 42. So a gain of 4, like we said with Starcevic. Shep was able to get a couple extra yards.
It's just there hasn't been many guys that have been able to take down either one of the quarterbacks at first contact, even and running backs included. It's just an impressive group of skill guys for both teams here. And that does not overshadow how impressive the offensive and defensive lines are. They're 22 really high-quality football players on the field.
As you will have a 3rd down and 2 upcoming. 1 wide receiver split on either side. Little broken I formation here. Bo Dean dots it. Under center goes Shep. Shep, hand up, Bodine, and the Vikings come in for a large tackle for loss with a 6'5" sophomore, Jake Starcevic, with his older brother, the senior, Jake Starcevic, and the younger brother, Luke Starcevic, that is, at 6'5", come in for a 3-yard tackle for loss.
Just when you haven't said his name for 3 or 4 plays, he comes and makes one of the biggest plays of the game thus far. He just went right underneath of that right tackle's block, made a big play in the backfield.
It's 4th down upcoming here as the Aggies will come on and punt this football away. And their quarterback is also the punter in Shep as he stands back at his own 28. Baco stands back at his own 30. See if the Vikings bring some pressure. Nope, they're going to play it safe. Shep gets this football off his side of the foot. It'll bounce at about the Kindred 42-yard line and be about an 18-yard punt, and that's where the Vikings will take over.
Yeah, you can see kind of put his head down as soon as that ball came off his foot. It's tough because it's got to come off a little bit out of the side of your foot if you want to get that driving spiral. And you think he missed it by an inch or 2 off the side of his foot, and that's not a good net. It'd be interesting if they wouldn't have lost a couple yards on 3rd down there. Would they have gone for it in their own territory with the way they've been running the ball? I'm not sure.
Been an interesting decision, but yeah, 4th and 5 kind of answered your question. Yep. As they will go Twins left, just the 4th possession of the game for the Vikings. 8 total between these two teams after both milked a good chunk of the clock off in their first possession. Look at Swenson get to the 50. They went behind the right guard of Fornshell and the right tackle of Starcevic. Swenson made a man miss at the 45, and making that man miss, Hoots able to get him an extra 5 yards.
Yeah, and the pulling, I think it was kind of a wing that came through on the pull on the power run there. He just clipped him with his shoulder pad, and you could tell that was his only goal. If I can just get him a shade outside of the hole that we're running through, that gap's going to be huge. And then, the ball carrier just took care of it after that.
Vikings at midfield, just over midfield on the Aggie side. 1 wide receiver on either side. Shotgun formation. Bindus, the tight end, lines up on the right-hand side. Play action. Looking for the double move to Baco down the far side of the field. And this is going to be picked up by Shep again. It's picked up for the 2nd time by the Aggies. Shep this time comes up with the interception. Starcevic looking for the double move. Baco beat the corner, but the ball was thrown inside the numbers, not outside the numbers, and Baco just never could get to it by the time Shep was able to get there.
Yeah, you could see Shep was not fooled by that play action. His job was deeper than the deepest, and he made sure his eyes did not get fooled by any motion in the backfield. Did a great job of staying over the top. But like you said, if that ball's thrown outside the numbers, it's a one-on-one play. Instead, it was inside the numbers, and now it was 2-on-1.
And 2 turnovers. Well, the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies, they have 0 so far. It's the Aggies with the football at their own 14-yard line, as making their way is Bodine. He's going to get wrapped up in the backfield for a tackle for a loss by Jake Starcevic, and it's a loss of about 2. And not to say that Jake is maybe doing a little too much as Eric Burgad takes a timeout on the field, but as we said, Hoots, you're coming back from an injury. You missed about 6 games, able to play in the quarters, able to play against Central Cass, but the Vikings didn't really throw the football at all against the Squirrels in the second half. A lot of run game in which they were able to move their yards, and all of a sudden now here in this championship, if you're the Aggies defensively after that opening drive, you really have to like, if you're Matt Weiler, what they've done here for the remainder of this first half so far defensively from the Aggie perspective.
Yeah, I think being able to trust your DBs like Velva clearly does, and then you just have the ball hawk of Shep in the backfield just kind of roaming and making plays on the ball like he has the last 2 times Kindred put the ball up. Kind of wonder if Starcevic, maybe it's not quite 100%. Running might be easier than that plant. And he drops back to throw it, just the ball's not coming out of his hands like it was in warm-ups. And, you get hit on that first possession. Maybe something happened. Maybe he's just got a little bit of, jitters when it comes to playing in the state championship game and unwilling to throw the ball as hard as he possibly can with that knee. There's a lot of factors that could be in play here.
Yeah, regardless, Starcevic again playing on that outside linebacker spot as well now defensively with his younger brother Luke at the defensive end spot. Shotgun formation, play action. They're looking down the near sideline, one-on-one to Eigelhart. Oh, and he nearly came up with a catch. Eigelhart against Jack McDonald, and Eigelhart nearly pulled a Zach Vra from a handful of years ago where Vra went over the defender for NDSU to come up with the football. And a nice defensive play by McDonald as he timed it up perfectly and got his mitt just in the nick of time in there.
Yeah, you'd have had a better angle Did he make a play on the ball? Was it legal coverage? Everything looked good?
He timed it perfectly. It was good. I mean, he never looked back at the football, but he timed it. And that's the thing, who says corners, you don't have to look back at the ball, but as a wide receiver, when do you play that cat and mouse game as there's 4 seconds left in the play clock? Aggies might have to burn a timeout here with 2 with 1, and they will, and another timeout with 2:07. But the cat and mouse game comes if you're a wide receiver and you put your hands up, and if you're a smart corner, you will look for the hands to go up.
Right.
And then that's when you kind of get your mitts in there, and that's exactly what McDonald did.
Okay. Great timing. That's well done. And then now we got, you just said cat and mouse game of receiver and corner. Now we're talking cat and mouse game with the coaches here. If you're Velva, are you running the ball and forcing Kindred to use their final timeout? Or are you trying to get that first down and saying, you know what, if they're going to score, they're probably going to score with 1 timeout or 0 timeouts? You know, with the clock stopping every time you get a first down, you probably want to, I would probably run the ball, try to make him use that last timeout. You know, I would put the ball in the hands of Shep and just say, hey, if you can get us 12, great. If you can't, we'll punt it away and play defense again like we have all first half.
The one thing about that interception with Starcevic, yes, it was a pick, but it was in a good area of the field, right? You're trying to make a big play, and all of a sudden you allow your defense to make a tackle for loss to begin. McDonald with one heck of a play, and that's going to be a fun battle to see these wide receivers go one-on-one with these corners as this game allows, though. But to your points here, Hoots, if you're the Aggies, you run the ball, Kindred calls their last time out, you're still going to give them about 2 minutes to work with offensively.
Yeah, and, you know, to counter what you said, it's a great place to throw a pick. The only issue is it was second down. If that's 3rd or 4th down, you're saying, hey, that's a great play. But if it's second down, you probably are looking to, pick up that first down and get the clock.
As you'll have a right tackle now flinching, Ethan Wrench. Again, Matt Bryant went out of the game earlier, so coming in now is going to be Wrench, and Wrench will have a false start, and that'll be the second penalty, and now all of a sudden draws them back even more on a 3rd and 12 to now a 3rd and 17. And Wrench was trying to get a little bit of a head start, as what Kindred did. They had their 3 defensive linemen in between the center and the guard. The D-ends then, Hoots, go out to the tackle, and that caused the flinch. And there's your cat and mouse game, speaking of offense and defensive linemen now.
Yeah, and that stemming, sometimes a tackle knows that, hey, I got to get off the ball here against this stud. If he moves at all, I'm probably going to react. Maybe they got a screen pass in the game here to counteract this pass rush.
Shep throws the football. This one's going to be incomplete. Trying to get to Eigelhart there as he was in the slot and then kind of went up on the seam. Incomplete. Not a bad ball by any means by Shep, but what it does do, it allows Kindred to keep a timeout, and Swenson, as he's done a handful of times, Lincoln nearly got home yet again, about a half step too short, which allowed Shep to have to maybe throw the football a little earlier than he wanted to.
Yeah, now you're punting from 2/3 of the way back into your own end zone. It's going to be really important to get this ball off.
Shep midway through the end zone, as Nathan Hoots alluded to. Here's a right-footed kick. Good kick. Baca with a fair catch all the way back to the 43-yard line. So about of a punt of 36, 37 yards. But regardless, you're the Vikings. You got to like where you are with 1:55 remaining here in the half. Kindred trying to do the double dip, trying to score before the half. Then they would get the ball to start the second half here, as they will mark it at the 45-yard line of Velva.
Yeah, and coaches that are, adamant about, deferring on the opening coin flip, this is why they do it. So they have the opportunity here to score before the half, and then possibly, come out of the gates and set the tone in the second half with another score.
The Aggies, so far, the difference in this game has been 2 interceptions that they've thrown, been able to get off the 2 throws by Starcevic. See what the Kindred Vikings start here. Trips on the near side, 1 to the right, 1 to the left. That's Baco. Starcevic gonna roll, moves the pocket, steps up, little sidearm throw. This is gonna be complete by Bindis at the 15-yard line.
That looked like a confident throw right there. The arm angle certainly changed there. He kind of slung it sidearm, but he rolled out, he planted, he felt comfortable, and they did a really good job. They sent a guy deep down the seam, and he put both hands up like he was Randy Moss screaming for the ball, and I think that might have drawn an extra set of eyeballs and then opened up that little kind of sit route in the middle of the field there.
Clock does stop as the chain gang moves, but then it goes right back
Quads
in motion.
Over here.
90 seconds remaining in the half, as you'll see the Aggies, and we might get an official review here at the Dakota Bowl. There is cameras, and you can review plays, but again, you're not going to have a red challenge flag, so to speak, by Matt Weiler or either Eric Burgett. So they eventually have a person whose designated role is to handle reviews, and then from this standpoint, they will determine if it was a catch, And if it wasn't, you put the ball back at the 45, and then you got to put some more time on the clock. But right now with 89 seconds, they paused the game to see if it was a catch here. Is inside the Fargo Dome. We're not seeing any replays, but I do like the replay assist here, Hoots, once you get to state tournaments. As the white hat does come out here with Todd Fisher, if you got 1 or 2 extra camera angles, you might as well use them, especially once you get to a state venue like this.
So the question is it like in college football where they bring out the, a screen the size of my phone to do a replay? I can't believe that. We got, 84-inch TVs in people's houses, but major college football does a replay on the size of my iPhone. That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
As long as you get help from the booth, that's all that I care about, right? As long as, like New York, for example, the NFL says, hey, you made the wrong or the right decision, that's all that matters. But the clock will wind now. Now it's 1:15 remaining as Starcevic gets the shotgun. QB keeper. The Aggies boot up immediately with Bruner, and then they tackle him high and tackle him low with Wrench.
Looks like they're going to go no huddle here. Oh, no, they're going to send someone in, try to preserve that last time out. They got plenty of time. It's only second down. You want to go quick, but you don't need to use the timeout quite yet.
Little sugar no huddle. Twins left, one to the right. Starcevic in between the hashes here at the 33-yard line for the Vikings as Bacco lines up with Spellhog. Bacco will now go in the slot. Clock down to 40 seconds. Play action to Swenson. Starcevic steps up. Starcevic gets to the 35-yard line. Looking down the field. Will heave this one. Looking for Bacco. And Bacco's going to see incompletion. The Kindred faithful want a flag. The ball was a little underthrown. You had 2 and almost 3 white jerseys there. Bacco tried to go back for the football. It'll be incomplete as Shep was in on the coverage.
Yeah, that, in my opinion, would have been defensive pass interference. That's when you have an underthrown ball and the DB doesn't know where it's at. You could tell he was just trying not to give up that touchdown there, and if it resulted in a pass interference, he was going to take it because in high school it's only 15 yards.
As the Vikings now will have a third down upcoming at the Aggie 33-yard line. Twins to the right, shotgun as Swenson goes in motion here. Throw it up, and then we'll flip it out to Brock Johnson. Johnson at the 25-yard line at the far side, and Johnson takes a shot out of bounds at the 16-yard line, a gain of 17.
So I was going to bring this up in pregame, but in the first matchup they had, Kindred's first possession, they had a 3rd and 18 and a 3rd and 19 on back-to-back plays. The first time it was taken back with an illegal motion or something silly like that. And the second time they ran that exact same play right there, and they got about 25 yards up the sideline. That's just a very simple, hey, let's get all of the eyeballs going in one direction, slip out the back to the other side, and see if he makes a play one-on-one, and he did just that. That was a big-time play.
Brandon Bosser delivers a lumber, but for Johnson, he got out of bounds. Stop clocks. The clock stops with 24 seconds remaining. Ball at the 16-yard line. Handoff goes to Bacco. Bacco looking to throw the football back. The Aggies read it, and they come up with a tackle for loss, and Bergad is going to have to burn the final timeout with 16 seconds remaining. So we saw a trick play in the first quarter for Velva not go anywhere, and a trick play for the Vikings here in the second quarter also not go anywhere. It will be a loss of 3 for Bacco.
I think the quarterback slipped out on the backside, and they were kind of looking for him, but
he was covered.
Well, yeah, and they also ran a guy up the seam that I think might have drawn an extra set of legs over on this side. I'm not positive. That was a really well-designed play, though.
Timeout again brought to you in part by Kindred State Bank and Insurance Agency. We'll keep it here before we get to the half. Take a look at the first half numbers. Get you ready for the 9-man championship with Lemoore Litchfield-Marion and New Rockford Cheyenne-Manock, and then get you slated for the second half of action here from the Fargo Dome. Chase Miller, Nathan Hoots with you. So now all of a sudden on a second down, you have no more timeouts. So for the Aggies, the old adage is protect the sideline, but with Bindis running up the seam, Bacco running up the seam, you don't want to give enough of a crease for Starcevic, Hoots, to try to put one in there from 16 yards, for example, and you rush it in the end zone.
And I look at it from Kindred's perspective. You're telling the quarterback the ball has to be thrown past, what do we got here, the 7-yard line, or it's got to be thrown in the end zone. Everything has to result in a clock stoppage, incomplete, touchdown, or first down.
Shotgun formation. Bacco goes from the right to the left slot in motion. Play action. Starcevic looking for Bindis in the end zone over the intended tight end receiver. As you had Hank Bodine on the coverage, Bindis had a step in the end zone, but that'll be incomplete. The clock will stop with 10 seconds.
Did you ever get an indication or pay attention to how far away they were kicking in pregame, or did Coach Bergad give you an idea of how far?
This is not a field goal situation.
Sure. Okay.
So it'll be 3rd down and 10 seconds remaining. Make it 3rd down and 12 here. Ball will be just inside the 20-yard line. One wide receiver to the right and the left. The Vikings essentially got 1 to 2 plays unless Starcevic rolls around in the pocket, then maybe just one. Swenson going out into the flat. Starcevic looking, Bendis across the middle, caught at the 5. Bendis is going to get tackled. Right. They got it at the 4. The clock stops at 5 seconds. They're going to have to spike the football quickly. It is a catch of about 15 yards as the Vikings trying to get set. The clock winds here at 5 seconds, now to 4. Starcevic puts this one down and has 3 seconds remaining. So a pitch and catch of 14 yards, and we'll have one more play. And now, yes, the field goal situation does come into play if the Vikings want to kick it.
That was impressive, though. You could tell they've worked on that a lot. They had 4 or 5 coaches sprinting out on the field, screaming at them to spike it, and they got up on the line in a hurry. Everybody knew exactly where they're supposed to line up, and they did that in 2 seconds.
So the Vikings, they're not going to kick the field goal. They will go for the touchdown here. 3 seconds remaining in the half. Shotgun formation, final play of the half unless there's a defensive flag. Starcevic rolling, right-handed side, looking, pitch, catch, this to Bacco, incomplete. They ran Hess and over, and then they ran Bacco on a flat right at the goal line here, incomplete. The play was there to be made, but that's how the defense will stop for the Aggies. So far, it's been the Aggies defense that has definitely been the story of the game, but you got to give a lot of credit to the Vikings defense as well. Outside of one play, they've been awfully stingy. It's tied at 6 as we head to the half on your liveevent.com.
Farming today doesn't always feel the same way it used to. Then again, some of it feels all the same. Maybe it isn't so much the jobs that changed, but how they get done. Now that's a different story. Everything got bigger and smaller at the same time. Insurance, accounting, and taxes can get complicated, so you need someone who's looking to keep every dollar possible in your pocket. Ag Country.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits including time off available from day one. American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at AmericanCrystalCareers.com.
Partnership is a way of life here in the Northland. It's about pitching in to help our neighbors, making lending decisions locally, honoring long-term commitments to farmers, Main Street businesses, teams, schools, and rural communities. We're more than just a bank. We're a community partner, working constantly and diligently to enrich the lives of everyone we serve. Bank North, always true.
The Ringneck is the perfect stop for lunch or dinner in Leonard, North Dakota. They have a wide variety menu from burgers, wraps, steak, chicken, and seafood. For that small-town family-owned dining experience, check out the Ringneck today. To place an order ahead of time for takeout, call 701-645-2461. That's 701-645-2461. For more information and daily food specials, search the Ringneck on Facebook. That's the Ringneck in Leonard.
At the half, it's the Kindred Vikings 6 and the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggie 6. Chase Miller, Nathan Hoots with you here today from the Pregame, and what has kind of been a slugfest for both of these teams. Neither really has gotten in rhythm, while on the opposite side, you'll see the Kindred Vikings here take the opening drive 52 yards for a touchdown that took 4 minutes and 5 seconds off the clock. Then, well, for the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies, they took advantage of an interception, 25-yard touchdown pass that was from Ben Schnepp eventually to Reggie Bruner. That's been the difference so far in this game. Has been a couple of possession suits, but other than that, I think both teams defensively like what they're doing. Now it's a matter of what can you get turning offensively throughout the rest of this contest.
Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a second half. There's been so many high-quality defensive plays here in the first half. You know, a lot of times Kindred's tried to fool Velva with, you know, eye candy and a couple trick plays they've taken chances on, and the back end of the defense for Velva is so, you know, they just seem very well schooled in everything that Kindred wants to do, and they're not fooled by anything. all of their interceptions and deflections they've had, it's been multiple guys around the ball. They're doing a great job of being able to play coverage while also getting pressure on Sarcevic, so it's been a fun first half.
Let's take a look at the volleyball rankings that it came out here just moments ago as the 8 region champs were crowned last night across the state of North Dakota. Here's what your state volleyball bracket will look like. The number 2 seed South Prairie Max will begin things off at 1 o'clock in the afternoon against Kenmare Bowbells. The 3 seed of Medina Pinger Buchanan, the Thunder go up against Central McLean. Then at 3, at 5 it's Langdon Area Munich, the Cardinals going up against Dickinson Trinity. The Titans are unseeded. Langdon Area Munich earns the number 1 seed. The 4-5 matchup, well, a Region 1 and Region 2 affair. The 4 seed Oak Grove against the 5 seed Thompson. That should be a doozy to finish off the quarterfinals upcoming on on Thursday night. The Fargo Dome again will host the North Dakota State Class A and State Class B volleyball tournament. Nathan Hoots, as we take a look here, has there been one player or one area of the game, I guess, that impresses you more than the other from either side of the football here before we take a break and then take a look at the first half numbers when we return?
I'll take Ben Shep is kind of the layup, I guess. Just his ability to throw the ball, run the ball, and then he's arguably been the best defensive player for Velva as well. With that interception and a big deflection on that long third down. He's been tremendous. He's taken very little chances on offense. I think understanding that this game is going to be like it is right now, a 6-to-6 defensive battle. Take what they give you. It's okay if we have to punt. That's better than a turnover in our own territory. Twice they've been backed up in their own territory. He hasn't flinched. He's done a good job of taking care of the ball. And then, getting the ball off his foot as a punter. He just had the one bad one, but when they really needed him, he did drive him back about 40 yards, so that was impressive.
Without question. We'll take a quick break, and we come back after this. Take a look at the first half numbers next from the Fargo Dome. Again, it's Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison 6, the Kindred Vikings 6 on your liveevent.com.
I'm PJ Rundin. I live in Mission Court in Ada, Minnesota. Here, a lot of people like it here. Well, what could be better?
I'm Molly, and I have lived here a little over 3 years now. I like the fact that I don't have stairs or elevators, and there's always some activities around here.
You couldn't help but like it here. That's what I say.
There's a new inventory of trailers at Bloomfield Enterprises of Hillsboro. You can see the latest inventory online at bloomfieldtrailers.com. Bloomfield Enterprises has a full line of Big Tex trailers. Big Tex has affordable and versatile utility trailers for all your jobs. Big Tex has a full line of products from ATV trailers to gooseneck to dump trailers and more. Call Larry at 218-368-7989 or Tim at 701-430-0877. Bloomfield Enterprises in Hillsboro.
We love our pets, accidents and messes included. Shaw Floor's Pet Perfect Carpet helps you love confidently with protection from everyday messes and odors. Designed with the whole family in mind, Pet Perfect features built-in protection from staining, fading, and pet hair. Make tails wag with Shaw Floor's Pet Perfect. Designed for you, perfect for your pet.
Available at Carpet World, 17th Avenue South, online at carpetworldfargo.com.
Growers, prepare your fields and yields against the wet conditions for 2025 and beyond with a drain tile project from Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. Drain tiling will improve and increase your yields and land values for years to come. Chad's Excavating provides free, detailed estimates, and with over 40 years of combined success, they provide professional installation and service. Call Chad today to prepare for your future and any questions that you might have. That's Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
At Enbridge, we're focused on relationships. 23 Canadian First Nation and Métis communities now own an equity stake in Enbridge Athabasca Pipelines. In Minnesota, Enbridge has spent $450 million and counting with Native-owned companies and in wages to tribal members working on Line 3. Every day brings new collaborations, partnerships, and possibilities. Learn more at Enbridge.com.
High school football today here on YourLiveEvent.com. Taking a look at the First half numbers, Velva with 6 points in the second quarter. Kindred with 6 points in the first quarter. Both touchdowns were on the south end zone. The Vikings scored with 2:40 left to play in the first quarter. Jake Starcevic, 8-yard rushing touchdown, made it 6-0. Then the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies were able to take advantage. After a pick, they go 2 plays later, Shep to Bruner for a 25-yard touchdown connection to make it 6-6. These two teams played earlier on in the season, in which the Vikings defeated the Aggies 13-6 back on August the 23rd. Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison punt, turnover on downs, touchdown, punt, and punt. Well, for the Vikings, touchdown, interception, punt, interception, and then eventually ran out of time after they got it to a 1st and goal at the 3-yard line with 3 seconds remaining in the first half. So that is a look again at the difference between the Aggies and the Vikings here today. Take a look at the first half numbers. Kindred, 127 yards of offense so far through the ground, 68-59 through the air with Starcevic. Starcevic 5 of 10 for 59 yards and 2 interceptions. Swenson 7 carries, 42 yards. Starcevic 5 for 26. Then Baco is 1 for -3. Baco 1 catch for 11 yards. Bindis 2 for 24, and Johnson 1 of 17, 4 penalties for 35 yards. While for Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison, the Aggies, Bodine 9 carries for 50 yards. Shep 8 carries for 27. Bossert 1 for -2. Ben Shep 4 of 7 through the air, 40 yards and 1 touchdown. Eaglehart 2 receptions for 15 yards. Bodine 1 for -1. And then Bruner 1 catch for 25 yards here today. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, get Nathan Hoots halftime adjustments next here from the Fargo Dome.
Let the geeks at GK Technology help you with your agricultural data. Their agronomists know agriculture. When it comes to creating soils and zone maps to maximize yields in your fields, you can trust the people with decades of experience in site-specific agriculture. Everyone at GK Technology has a background in agriculture, so they know what makes a farm run, and they speak your language. The geeks at GK Technology have a map and an app for that.
There's more at 104. Hillsboro, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsboro and see why there's more at 104.
The Ringneck is the perfect stop for lunch or dinner in Leonard, North Dakota. They have a wide variety menu from burgers, wraps, steak, chicken, and seafood. For that small-town family-owned dining experience, check out the Ringneck today. To place an order ahead of time for takeout, call 701-645-2461. That's 701-645-2461. For more information and daily food specials, search the Ringneck on Facebook. That's the Ringneck in Leonard.
Are you looking for your next vacation rental? Call or text Mason at Cleave Guard Rentals, 701-552-3181. Family fun, girls getaway, retreats and get-togethers. Call or text Mason, 701-552-3181. Located on West McDonald Lake, your vacation awaits.
Lakes Community Co-op delivers more than just propane into a tank. They deliver a commitment to customer safety with professional, knowledgeable service. Lakes Community Co-op propane customers can relax because having a monitored tank allows Lakes Community Co-op to know tank levels and therefore make timely deliveries. This takes away all your worries. Call 1-888-935-2281 for propane from Lakes Community Co-op. For more information, visit lakescommunitycoop.com.
high school football here today on your liveevent.com. Nathan Hoots, we talked about it a little bit before we went to break. Chase Miller with you here today from the Fargo. Got a handful of minutes before we get to the second half. Biggest second half adjustments. It really is a brand new ball game. It's tied at 6 apiece. Vikings got up early. Aggies took advantage of a turnover. Then both teams' defenses kind of really were in the meat grinder against the offenses in a good way from a defensive point of view. So what do you got to do if you're both teams' offenses against the respective defenses here today?
Yeah, I think both teams defensively in this first half have been playing bend but don't break. A lot of coverage, not a whole lot of pressure. Be interesting to see if either team decides to bring 5 or 6 man pressures here in the second half and what kind of results they get from that. It's going to be a, hey, can we take care of the ball, play the field position type of game. Each team you'd like to see kind of take that, one trick play or one big throw down the field at least once each quarter. Kindred's tried twice, both unsuccessful, but they have more than that up their sleeve. And, Velva's kind of been playing very, very passive. They've taken 2 chances down the field. One resulted in that back shoulder touchdown. The other one resulted in that incomplete pass that was on your sideline over there. Both well defended, but I think they're going to like their chances if they are able to run the ball and then take some chances down the field via play action, see if they can get some of those linebackers to suck up. Maybe attack the middle of the field a little bit more than the outside of the field and see what happens. There's been some gaps there. But Kindred does such a good job of getting defensive line pressure without having to blitz. If they bring extra pressure, maybe they can force that turnover they've been looking for.
The one thing, if you're Kindred, obviously, we haven't really seen Swenson completely get going. 7 carries for 41 yards, by no means bad averages, but he hasn't broken that big play. And it's the same thing with Brooks Bacco here. We haven't really seen the Vikings get into Bacco's hands where he could make a man miss. There was one attempt on the double move. The ball was a little underthrown, and then Shep made an interception on it. But Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison, Hoots, has done a really good job, just minimizing the big plays, because coming into it, both teams were averaging 8-9 yards a rush. Yep. Both teams were averaging, a first down almost through the air. We haven't really seen those explosive plays, but I think I've been more impressed by the Aggies minimizing Kindred's offense so far early on.
Yeah, who's going to be willing to take a big chance here in the second half? This is almost a mirror image of how it played out a couple months ago. 7-6 at half at that time. It was 7-6 with 6.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter until finally one play broke. And they ran for like a 40-yard touchdown to take the lead. And then, besides that, it was the same type of situation we got right now where it's a bunch of bend but don't break, play really good defense once they get inside of your 30-yard line, and just make sure that if they're going to get anything, they're going to have to earn it, and it's going to take 10 to 12 plays every possession. We are not giving up giant 40-yard plays today. Everything's going to be underneath. It's similar to how teams are starting to play Patrick Mahomes, along with every other team in the NFL. It's, hey, if you're going to be patient and take 8 to 10 yard gains over, via the pass, we're going to give it to you, but we're not going to allow you to get deep plays and big chunk plays. If you want it, you're going to have to run the ball. You're going to have to earn it over the middle.
And the one thing with this, not a lot of offense. 225 yards total combined between these two teams. 124 for Kindred, 101 for Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison. Vikings get the ball to start the second half. When we return, we'll talk about the adjustments as this game continues. Also, we'll get to our Enbridge Energy Player of the Game on our post-game show, and we'll get you ready for the 9-man championship as well with New Rockford Cheyenne Maddock. The Rockets going up against the Lemoore Litchfield Marion Lobos later on today here from the Fargo.
At Polar Communications, innovation is in our DNA. We're pioneers, always looking ahead to what's next to ensure our communities thrive. We were the first in the state to offer gig services, and we didn't stop there. We continue to lead the way in delivering high-quality, reliable technology to your doorstep. A better experience starts here.
Every Wednesday night at 7, watch the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, presented by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. Stay up to date with the latest goings-on in the region, as we'll hear from area coaches in North Dakota and Minnesota. Plus, we'll highlight area high school seniors and their achievements in the classroom and on the court with our Senior Spotlight. That's the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, presented by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation, Wednesday nights at 7 on YourLiveEvent.com. If you're ready for a great meal, head over to West Main Pizza in Ada and Dilworth. They have a variety of pizzas like Supreme, Barbecue Chicken, The Reuben, Grandma G Sloppy Joe, BLT, Hawaiian, Vegetarian, and more. West Main Pizza also serves nachos and tacos, great pasta dishes, panini sandwiches, subs, and salads. West Main Pizza at 320 East Main Street in Ada and 111 15th Street Northeast in Dilworth. Check them out online at westmainpizza.net.
As we get you ready for the third quarter play here, starting the third quarter, Aggies put the ball on the tee, kicking from the right to the left or from the north to the south end zone, as this one is a dribbler that rolls all the way back to Johnson at the 20-yard line, and he makes his way to the 35 here for Brock Johnson, and that's where the Kindred Vikings will start with the football. First down upcoming, and here's the adjustments that we talked about. Where does Kindred and where do the Aggies go for the first time when they have the football, respectively? Good starting field position for Kindred.
Luke Starcevic's been such a great quarterback for the years he's been here at Kindred. He had a rough first half. It'd be interesting to find out, what did the coaches say to him at halftime? Or, hey, we're gonna ease you into this second half. We're gonna hand the ball off. We're not gonna put a lot on your shoulders. Or it's, you know what? No, you're the man. We're gonna let you win this game or lose this game for us.
Vikings go under center. Starcevic under center, pitches it off to Swenson. Swenson makes a cutback. Swenson looking for the edge. There does come a flag. Swenson's going to get a big play regardless. 35-40, picks up a block, 45-50. It's about a 15-yard play, but when he made the cutback, the flag came out from the white hat here, Todd Fisher, and this one is going to be coming back, and it will be.
Yeah, that's always, you love the cutback run. It's even more dangerous in 9-man, obviously, but the cutback run is so great because you can get big chunk plays, but you also, you're blocking a guy in a certain direction, and then all of a sudden you're blocking him in another direction, and once he fights away from you, then you're already locked into him, and that's when you can get that easy hold call.
That's a tough one. 5 penalties now for 45 yards, makes it first down and 20 here for the Vikings. But we saw Kindred for the most part of that first half, Hoots, go shotgun, right?
Yep.
And then similar to the Aggies in their first two possessions, then they went under center. Well, that was the first one under center. Now they go back to shotgun here for play 2. As the Aggies, a little too high safety across his top. Swenson to the right of Starcevic here, who stands in the gun as he's back at his own 20-yard line. The line of scrimmage is at 23. Starcevic's just going to get walled up here as Bo Dean comes in on the tackle, but give a lot of credit to the the defensive linemen of Gage Roberts, Kyle Vosen, and Evan Wrench here for really getting that first surge.
Yeah, they stood up all of the offensive linemen right there and made a great play. And that, if you can just stand up all those offensive linemen, you got linebackers that are just sitting there reading, and they understand how important that quarterback run game is. And they probably have at least one guy assigned to him automatically. And they just did a great job, like I said, just walling off and making sure that he didn't get anything more than a couple.
11 minutes left to play here in the third quarter. 2nd and 19 for the Vikings. Ball spotted at their own 25-yard line. Fullback dive play that goes nowhere. Evan Wrench blows up Tyson Johnson. Tackle of loss for 1.
Defensive line certainly has showed up here in these first couple of plays. I don't know, like I said earlier, I bet Central Cass is probably the only team physically that has matched up with them. And Velva has really, really brought it here today. Their defensive line has answered the bell for, 2 quarters plus 2 minutes so far.
As you will see, 10:15 remaining here in the third quarter. It's third down and Cass County upcoming here for Kindred. One wide receiver on the other side. What do they call, as they will need their own 44 for a first down. Handoff, Swenson. Swenson goes through the A-gap, and the Aggies read it for about a gain of 2, maybe 3 at that. But the Aggies doing awfully well defensively, and again, give a lot of credit to the men up front. Those 3 down linemen, Hoots, just kind of going everywhere right now, causing havoc to start the second half.
Yeah, I think I answered my own question there. I asked, how much pressure are they going to put on their quarterback to make plays? 3rd and 17, I bet there haven't been many times that he hasn't been trusted to throw the ball down the field. So, I think they're just playing field position here and trusting their defense.
Bacco nearly sees this one get blocked, but he skies it past the 40, takes an Aggie roll at the 35, then to the 38-yard line. That was close of nearly being a block and an extra half a step that possibly even could have been a running into the kicker. Regardless, so it'll be a turnover, a downs, and immediate timeout on the field. Timeout on the field brought to you in part by Kindred State Bank and Insurance Agency. We'll take a quick break. Back after this, Aggies with the ball for the first time in the second half.
RDK Enterprises, your local precision planting dealer in Hillsboro, is now Agassi Precision Ag.
RDK 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 is now Agassi Precision Ag. You heard that right. RDK Enterprises, your local precision planting dealer in Hillsboro, is now Agassi Precision Ag. Same location, employees, and customer service you deserve. Visit us at planterdoc.com.
Farming today doesn't always feel the same way it used to. Then again, some of it feels all the same. Maybe it isn't so much the jobs that changed, but how they get done. Now that's a different story. Everything got bigger and smaller at the same time. Insurance, accounting, and taxes can get complicated, so you need someone who's looking to keep every dollar possible in your pocket. Ag Country.
Timeout brought to you in part by Kindred State Bank and Insurance Agency. Contact Jim and the crew at Kindred State Bank Insurance Agency. Go to kindredstatebank.com. Aggies with the football here as this one will come across on the sweep pattern. Gets a handful of yards for Eigelhart, and that'll make it a first down and 10 to about a second down and 5. Good play call there for the Aggies with 9:15 here in the third quarter.
That's the safest type of pass you can throw, that little flip forward. You know, you give the guy the receiving yards, give your quarterback the passing yards. Now, they kind of overloaded. It looked like they had a tight end and 2 receivers over there on that one side, plus the running back. They had a lot of guys on that side of the field. I like that play right there. If you can time it up well, it takes timing and a lot of practice.
3 receptions, 20 yards. Ben Shep so far through the air has completed so far 5 of 8 for 43 yards, but it does bring up a second and medium. They'll actually give him 6 on the play as we'll see another false start. This will be from the right tackle. Again, Matt Bryant went out of the game earlier in the first half. Evan Wrench is going to get called for his second false start, and the reason why, and you got Luke Starcevic on the other side. I would even be shaking in my boots a little bit here in terms of the 6'5" defensive end spot, Hoots.
I'd be telling my quarterback, never go on 2. Don't, and you got to change everything up. I should be caught off guard when you snap the ball because you cannot allow him to time up anything. It should be quick counts and allow that backup to have a chance against him.
As you'll see, it's 2nd and 9, broken T. Fullback goes right to left, handoff to Bodine at the 40-yard line. Makes one, not 2-man miss, but the Vikings with good pursuit to about the 43. And I think that's the biggest thing we've seen by both defenses, Hoots, is the simple fact of, sure, you can make one guy miss, but you rarely have made the second or third guy miss to get a 2-yard play to a first down yardage kind of a play.
I think I beat a dead horse in that first half saying how many times that first guy was unable to make the tackle, but how many times was it broken for 12 yards? Not very often. It was, hey, instead of gaining, 1, you got 3, and that's what good defenses do. They limit the amount of yards after first contact.
Third down upcoming. The Kindred faithful making some noise across the way. Aggies will handle it. Third down, ball spotted between the 43 and the 42-yard line. They need the 48 for the first. Shep, shotgun, has time, delay blitz comes, going deep down the field. This one, incomplete. Eigelhart with the Superman catch at the 35, but when he hit the turf and slid, it went off his shoulder pad, and it's an incomplete pass. That would have been a gain of 25 yards, but instead it will bring up a 4th down and 5.
Yeah, that was a big-time play. He was open early. Shep didn't see him, and then he did see him, and then laid it right on him in the spot where he wasn't going to get popped by a defensive player, which was impressive. And then he just, I think, if that's on grass, I think he absorbs that contact and probably hangs on, but the turf is a little bit harder.
4th down here as Shep will come on to put this football away at the 30-yard line. Clean snap, right-footed kick, a banger, end over, and Brooks Bacco here at the 26 makes the reception to the 30, 35, and Bacco gets about 10 yards on the return to the 37-yard line. 7:22 remaining here in the third quarter. There's going to be a media timeout on the field. We'll break with them here on your liveevent.com.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits including time off available from day one. American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at AmericanCrystalCareers.com.
Partnership is a way of life here in the Northland. It's about pitching in to help our neighbors, making lending decisions locally, honoring long-term commitments to farmers, Main Street businesses, teams, schools, and rural communities. We're more than just a bank. We're a community partner, working constantly and diligently to enrich the lives of everyone we serve. Bank North, always true.
High school football today on YourLiveEvent.com. Chase Miller, Nathan Hoots for our first of two football broadcasts here from the Dakota Bowl. 9-man championship coming up next, but this has been the definition of a Schlabberknocker today, or Rock'em Sock'em Robots, between the number 1 and the number 2 seed here in Division A football. The Vikings have won 46 of their last 48 contests, trying to make it 25 straight with a W here today. Coming off that orbit motion is Bacco. Handoff Swenson. Swenson has a crease to the 40. Look at Swenson go. Conlon makes a man miss. Spins his way to the 49-yard line. That's one of the better rushes of the day for the Vikings. It's a gain of 12 yards.
I don't know if you could see that from there, but 3 of Kindred's offensive linemen just looked at their coach and just gave him the, hey, let's do that again, do it again, do it again, do it again. So I don't know, maybe they saw something that they liked in that alignment or the way they blocked that, but they could tell, hey, that's something that we could have more success with.
Kylan's longest rush of the game is 13 yards. Starsvik had a 15-yard rush earlier. That's the longest play from scrimmage outside of the Bindis 15-yard, then the Johnson 17-yard reception late in the first half. Motion man again goes Bacco. It's the same play. This time will it be to the opposite side? It is. Swenson dekes a man, gets into the A-gap, but this time the Aggies do wrap up with Shep at about the 44-yard line, but it is a gain of 4 and positive yards on first down.
I think you force Velva to stop that play, run it again, see what happens. I don't see any reason why not. You haven't had a whole lot of success for the last probably quarter and a half offensively, so see what happens.
They're running between the guards in the center of Maestro, Tate Miller, and then Ethan Forenshaw. Then you're allowing Starsvik to pick his spot to either go between the guards or break it outside of the tackle spot. As the Vikings will see Brock Johnson motion to the backfield. They'll handle it to Brock. Brock gets a lead block by Swenson, and Brock makes his way to about the 36-yard line. Nicely done by the lead block by Tyson Johnson, that is. Brock Johnson gets to the 36, and that's a Johnson connection of 10.
And I was going to ask you, coming out of that last time out, if this is a next team that scores wins. We could be looking at that the way that both teams have been playing defense, but this has been the best offensive possession since the first quarter, I would say.
Best offensive possession for the Vikings. They got close late there again at the second half to get in, but yeah, best one since the start of the opening drive here for Kindred. Brock Johnson again, right between the A-gap, past the 30. It's like he hit the sled, and then he makes his way for a gain of 7.
So they have run 2 different plays twice here in this possession here, and all of them have resulted in at least 5 or more yards, which is a giant play in the game that we've had so far.
All that you're doing, Hoots, is you're going, there's nothing pretty about it. There's no pulls, there's no counters. It's pretty much maybe a little eye candy with the motion, but it's right downhill so far for the Vikings.
But the motion isn't, it's not, Velva's not, responding to it, so it's not doing a whole lot. It's just man-to-man up front.
2nd and 3, handoff Brock Johnson, and this time he's going to get stuffed. It'll be right back to the line of scrimmage. Evan Wrench comes in on the tackle. We've said Wrench's name a handful of times defensively here today.
Yeah, he made that big-time play early in that first quarter on that first drive, and they don't look like they have the size to compete, but they really, really fight every single play. It's a big-time play here. 3rd
down upcoming, without question, 4-down situation
Absolutely.
here unless something bad happens from the Kindred perspective. 4:39 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Ball spotted just inside the 30-yard line, near hash as we see it at the Farnham. Twins left, shotgun formation, Starsvik. The Aggies a 5-down lineman, speed option. They pitch it to Swenson. Swenson trying to get to the numbers, has a first down, 25-20. Look at Kylan go 15-10, and he's taken down at the 11-yard line. A gain of 18.
Absolutely tremendous blocking. You don't get a whole lot of pancake blocks from outside receivers. Number 3 on this side right here was just determined. He was not responsible to block either the guy that had the back or the quarterback. He was just, hey, I got to get my guy as far downfield as I can. He ran him off the play and then drove him into the turf.
Yeah, that's the junior Sawyer Hess. He only has 4 receptions for 35 yards, but if you're Kindred and you're a wide receiver, if you can block, it'll be good, and we'll have an illegal substitution here coming out of the break as Bacco came out, and we'll have an illegal substitution with 12 men breaking the huddle, so that'll push him back 5 yards. And where they spotted it, Hoots, I thought it might have been the 11, but because he rolled on the defender, they gave him an extra yard, which now kind of bites them a little bit because it's 1st and goal at the 15 now.
Yeah, it certainly adds an element to this right now, but if you say I got 4 plays to get 15 yards the way they've ran it on this possession, I think that's a shoe-in.
3:50 remaining here in the third quarter. Ball at the far hash of the Vikings, clad in their all-blue uniforms, white numerals, with the Kindred Vikings here today. Brock Johnson to the right-handed side, and Johnson, well, he got a lot of it back and passed the 8 down to the 7. Nicely done running behind Thornshell, Luke Starcevic, and Tate Miller on that right-hand side.
It's nothing fancy, but they're adding a man to the run game when they bring that receiver in motion, and then he is the man getting the ball. And then you have a running back that's your lead blocker. You have a quarterback that's not lead blocking, but he's a threat in the running game, so you have to account for him. Just adds a man to the play, and the numbers game is in the favor of the Vikings right now.
Shotgun formation, as you'll see Tyson Johnson in the backfield. They'll orbit back Brock Johnson back into the field as he makes a man miss. This time gets maybe about a yard. Aggies do a better job. Wrench able to get there immediately, but you're starting to see the Kindred line kind of maybe wearing down the Aggies line a little bit in the second half.
Starting to lean on him a little bit. Kindred does have to be careful, though. When that guy comes in motion, he cannot be moving forward before the ball is snapped. And he's starting to veer toward the line of scrimmage because he wants to get downhill as quickly as possible with how well his offensive line is blocking. Just be wary of that here moving forward.
Nearly 5 minutes off the clock in the drive that started back at their own 37-yard line for the Vikings. Reminder, it was 1st and 20, and they got out of it. This one will be 2 wide receivers to the right-hand side. Shotgun here for Starcevic. Starcevic speed option going to keep it. Starcevic then going to get stoned. Going up high and going down low. Emmett Leahy and Reggie Bruner with the tag team tackle. And now it's 4th down upcoming here at the 5.
No movement from a kicking tee, so no one's moving out. Looks like they're going for it.
They were in this similar spot at the end of the first half. It was at the 5-yard line on the far side. They rolled Starcevic to the near side. They had Baco one-on-one as he kind of ran a China route, went in and out then eventually. We'll see what they do here as Baco lines up in the slot. Spellhog on the far side. Play clock at 7 seconds. Shotgun, Starcevic, QB keeper, and that's going nowhere. Bruner's able to get there immediately, and he stones him. A turnover on downs. The Aggies defense bends but doesn't break. It'll be 1st and 10, Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison at their own 5-yard line.
Like you said, that getting the ball at the 10 and then moving backwards, that's probably what ended up costing him on that possession. But big credit to the Aggie defense there, standing up on two plays at the 5-yard line, not giving up an inch.
The Aggies will have their 2nd possession of the half. This is their 7th of the game. Both teams with all 3 timeouts remaining with $1:40 left to go here in quarter number 3. The Aggies with Shep will come out as he stands in the shotgun right at the end zone here for the Aggies. Shep, drop, one-on-one throw near sideline to Eigelhart, but it's going to be incomplete. He makes the reception, but out of bounds. McDonald glued on him on the coverage. That'll be a 2nd and 10 upcoming.
I was going to ask, how aggressive do you think they're going to be here backed up against their own end zone, knowing how well, or how deficient their offense has been pretty much this entire game except for that one play down the field. You don't want to have to punt for a 3rd time from near your end zone in a game. That starts to put a little stress, and Kindred's probably got something up their sleeve with some type of a punt block maybe they haven't shown all year, and you don't want to have to do that up against your own end zone.
Without question, 2nd and 10 here, going to be interesting to see where they go for the Aggies. We have seen in these spots Shep take off and make a backyard football style of play for some yards. Shep, QB keeper, right up between the teeth of this Viking defense, gets a couple of them, maybe to about the 8 for about a gain of 3 on the play. Tyson Johnson, part of that blocking or tackling party here for the Vikings, alongside with him on the interior on that nose guard spot with Caleb Erdeman. So far for Shep, 34 yards rushing here on 9 attempts. 65 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. And the second half has been a lot like the first half. Defense has won the day so far for both of these teams. And the defense of Kindred trying to get off the field on a 3-and-out. Aggies 4 seconds. Shep in the gun. Vikings bring 4. They get there. Shep takes the spot, but there's a big play down the field. This one caught by Yoakum. Yoakum at the 40, and no one's going to catch him. Yoakum to the house, and Yoakum and the Aggies with a 92-yard pitch and catch. And the Aggies, for the first time today, have taken a lead.
Shep got absolutely drilled right in his chest, and the first thing I looked for was whether that was going to be roughing the passer. That was an unbelievable throw under that pressure. There were Kindred Vikings on him 2 seconds after he got that snap. That was beyond impressive, probably the best play of his high school career.
An absolute one-on-one coverage. You bring the pressure. Yoakum was able to get by the linebacker spot of Miles Stroh, and then Yoakum just had more speed than Stroh did, and eventually, Hoots, you put it on him, and Yoakum was able to get a house call. Again, when you're going one-on-one on the outside, if you make a man miss or get by him, it can go the distance, and the Aggies get the big play here. They will go for the two-point conversion. Shep has some time looking, evading the sack. Shep looking for the 2-point. This one is batted, and it's caught. It's batted by Miles Stroh and then picked up by Trayson Eigelhart, the senior, for the 2-point conversion. New score here from the Fargo. Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison now leads at 14-6 with 39 seconds here in the third quarter.
The Ringneck is the perfect stop for lunch or dinner in Leonard, North Dakota. They have a wide variety menu from burgers, wraps, steak, chicken, and seafood. For that small-town family-owned dining experience, check out the Ringneck today. To place an order ahead of time for takeout, call 701-645-2461. That's 701-645-2461. For more information and daily food specials, search the Ringneck on Facebook. That's the Ringneck in Leonard.
High school football today here on YourLiveEvent.com. It was third down upcoming for the Aggies. Kindred brings some pressure. They bring the blitz. They find Yoakum on the near side. He got by Stroh and then went the distance for the score of 92 yards. And then Stroh had his hand on the football, batted it up in the air, went to Eigelhart for the 2-point conversion. Vikings now trail it. Kindred with the football on the far side. Vikings to the 40-yard line, make their way to about the 42 here on the return for Kindred. That one by Swenson. And now for the Kindred Vikings, they haven't been down too much this season. Briefly against the Aggies in game number 1, and briefly in the state semifinals against Central Cass to open up the game, and they immediately came back and responded. So we haven't said the Vikings trailing too much in a high school football game this season.
Yeah, we had the opportunity to just be able to watch that replay of the touchdown on the Jumbotron here, and you can see that linebacker that was on him one-on-one in coverage slipped right at the line of scrimmage, and then he was just trailing him the whole way.
Shotgun formation, handoff, Swenson bursts through, gets to the 50, and Swenson gets a gain of 8. Those yards that were maybe 2 yards, 3 yards, or a tackle for a loss have now become 4, 5, and 8-yard rushes here in the third quarter for the Vikings.
Chase, did the umpire just save a touchdown there?
He got close.
Okay,
I'm not going to say he's the reason, but it was close.
That was a little nerve-wracking. You don't want to end up costing something there, being in the middle of the field.
Vikings quickly get back to the huddle. 5 seconds remaining. Swenson spins his way to the 48. Going to depend on the spot. I think he's going to be about a nose of the football short, and we'll let you know about it when we return. It'll be 3rd and inches for the Vikings when we come back. It's the Aggies 14, the Kindred Vikings 6. This is the Division A Football Championship from the Fargo Dome on YourLiveEvent.com.
I'm PJ Rundin. I live in Mission Court in Ada, Minnesota. Here, there are a lot of people like it here. Well, what could be better?
I'm Molly, and I have lived here a little over 3 years now. I like the fact that I don't have stairs or elevators, and there's always some activities around here.
You can't help but like it here. That's what I say.
There's a new inventory of trailers at Bloomfield Enterprises of Hillsboro. You can see the latest inventory online at bloomfieldtrailers.com. Bloomfield Enterprises has a full line of Big Tex trailers. Big Tex has affordable and versatile utility trailers for all your jobs. Big Tex has a full line of products from ATV trailers to gooseneck to dump trailers and more. Call Larry at 218-368-7989 or Tim at 701-430-0877. Bloomfield Enterprises in Hillsboro.
High school football today here from the Fargo Dome. Chase Miller, Nathan Hoots, and you here today. Thank you for tuning into our coverage here from the Dome and also throughout the course of the football season on YourLiveEvent.com across the state of North Dakota. We already have hockey later today in Warroad in girls hockey. Minnesota girls basketball begins their first games next Thursday and Friday. So the winter season is officially here on YourLiveEvent.com. I know Nathan Hoots will be getting ready for Maple River girls basketball contest coming up on Monday for first practice. But first, we got to finish off the fall with this football Dakota Bowl, then volleyball next week at the Dome. Vikings go under center. It's 3rd and inches. Starsvik under the gun. Now for the hard count, and someone moved. The question is, who flinched first? Was it one in white for the Aggies or one in blue for Kindred?
You know, as a coaching staff, you always sell it and clap that your guys didn't do their, okay, yep.
So encroachment on the Aggies. It's a free first down, 4 penalties for 25 yards. Difference in this game right now is the turnovers, though. 2 turnovers for the Vikings, 0 for Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison, but the clock at 12 minutes. The Vikings in a free 5 now to the Aggies 44-yard line. Twins to the right, shotgun formation. Motion man goes Swenson in the backfield. They slept the little screen pass. This goes to Johnson, who gets pushed out of bounds close to the 35-yard line. Brock Johnson. They ran that same play at the end of the second quarter, Hoots, not for as many yards, but still they get a good gain of about 7 to 8.
Absolutely. And you got to get guys flowing one way and show them that you're willing to go away from the strength of the offense, which would have been, you know, that flip pass over here to the strong side behind the trips. And, you know, they've shown that twice now that they're willing to go to the other side. Are they willing to throw something over here? You know, pump fake it one way, come back the other. They got to try to you got to throw it away from 10, though. Don't allow him to make plays here in this 4th quarter of the state championship game.
In the pistol formation, Starsvik will see Bacco on that orbit motion coming across. Handoff goes to Swenson. Swenson makes a man miss and bulldozes his way to about the 35-yard line. He'll gain maybe 1, if not 2. And you see the Aggies, and we've seen Bo Dean, we've seen Bruner really play a lot at that linebacker spot and saw that orbit motion, and this time the Aggies immediately get to Swenson from Bruner there, Hoots, to at least slow Swenson down just a skosh.
Yeah, that's all you want to do. Now, if you're Velva, it's like, hey, can we keep them inside the tackles and slow them down as much as we possibly can? Don't give up 7-8 yards. If we can keep that at 3 or 4, then we're good.
Twins to the left-handed side, 11:15 remaining here in the 4th quarter. It's the Division A football championship contest. Motion man going to the backfield here is Swenson. They'll hand it off to him. Swenson gets by the right-handed side of Fornchell, also Starsvik on that far side, and we might have our first cramp inside the Fargadome here of the Dakota Bowl, and that's going to be Miles Theolgis, the sophomore. But there is a gain of a couple of yards here, and we'll take a quick break as they attend to Theolgis on the football field.
We love our pets, accidents and messes included. Shaw Floor's Pet Perfect Carpet helps you love confidently with protection from everyday messes and odors. Designed with the whole family in mind, Pet Perfect features built-in protection from staining, fading, and pet hair. Make tails wag with Shaw Floor's Pet Perfect. Designed for you, perfect for your pet.
Available at Carpet World, 17th Avenue South, online at carpetworldfargo.com.
As they attend to Miles Theolgis here on the play this timeout, brought to you in part by Kindred State Bank and Insurance Agency. Both teams with all 3 timeouts remaining in a football game that got underway at 9:08 earlier today. So roughly looking close to maybe 11:45-ish or so to that opening kickoff for the 9-man championship with New Rockford, Cheyenne, and Lamort with Marion. But the biggest thing, Hoots, on that last offensive drive for the Aggies, they got the 2-point conversion. That was awfully large.
Yeah, because now you don't need 1 scoring play, you need 2 scoring plays, and that you got to come up with your best 2-point conversion play after you get the ball in the end zone here.
First things first for the Vikings, they will have it at the 32-yard line of Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison. Play action, slip up the little bubble screen to Bacco. Bacco to the 25. Bacco gets close to the 20. He has the first down and some. And I would like to see, if you're a Kindred fan, see that a little bit more. Get the ball in Bacco's hands and let Brooks cook.
Yeah, he's been targeted a couple times today. You know, once down here in the end zone, didn't make a play, and then one time over the middle. Outside of that, it hasn't been a whole lot for him. And, you know, with his size and his athleticism, you'd like to see maybe get a couple more touches. Not exactly the Randy ratio from back in the 2000s Vikings, but, you know, maybe a couple more here in the 4th quarter.
Brooks Bacco, 2 catches for 22 yards. Both 11-yard varieties here as Swenson motions into the backfield here. Handoff goes to Swenson, and the Aggies were ready for it. Eigelhart came down at that outside linebacker spot, and there's the adjustment, right? You saw the orbit motion a handful of times, or the motion to the backfield, and now the Aggies are pretty much just saying, if you're going to keep doing it, we'll bring our outside linebacker down and time it perfectly and disrupt the play at the line.
And you would assume, with how well Kindred has played all year, they have a nice counterplay to that here that they'll probably save for some really important down in the next minute or two.
10 minutes to play in the state title. 2 wide receivers, left-handed side. Starcevic in the gun. Aggies 3 down linemen, those outside linebacker spot, almost more of an edge rusher. Right now, Starcevic makes a bounce inside, but he can't get anywhere. And this has been really the story of the game, the bend but don't break for Velva's offense. Velva, outside of 2 plays, really has not done much offensively. Defensively, they've given up yards to Kindred, but when it gets to this point, they've really stemmed the tide a little bit here, Hoots, and really buckled down defensively.
This is the 3rd trip to the red zone, I think, in the last 3 possessions for Kindred, and so far 0 points. And, you know, right now they got a 3rd and 8. Obviously, like you said, you got 4 downs to get it. So it's going to be, this is a pivotal moment in the game right now.
Twins to the right-handed side as Sawyer Hess lines up in the slot. Baco on the far side. Play clock down to 5 seconds and counting. Starcevic shotgun, speed option. This goes to Swenson.
Pass.
Swenson looking to throw the football to Baco. Baco in the end zone. This is going to be picked up by Shep. Shep comes up with the pick, and Baco goes down, and Shep trying to milk some clock will take a knee as they went for the trick play. He was double guarded. Swenson really couldn't do much with that one as he threw it, and Shep was playing free safety, and he's really been the MVP of this game.
Yeah, two interceptions, the big deflection hit over the middle. You know, that 92-yard passing touchdown, you can't ask for anything more than your senior quarterback safety right there. He just, like I said, don't throw the ball near him. He's a ball hawk. He knows exactly what to do when the ball's in the air. But every time there's been a play down the field for Kindred, it's been 2 Aggies and 1 Viking in the area. And you know, you'd like to flip that and have it the other way and give yourself a better chance of scoring.
8:59 remaining. Still time if you're a Kindred fan, but if you're the Aggies, you put 1 in the end zone here. It's not lights out, but the way your defense has been playing, it's nearly perfect. As, again, 3 turnovers for Kindred, 0 for the Aggies. 2 seconds on the play clock. Schnapp, play action, rolls the pocket near side. He's getting pressured, throws, finds a man. This one caught by Volson at the 30-yard line, and Shep takes another shot by Hunter Bendis. He has withstood a handful of body blows today, but he comes up with a big pass to Volson for a gain of 13.
That is a throw that translates really, really well to the level of football that's played on Saturdays. That play action where you're willing to put your back to the line of scrimmage for like 2 seconds and then roll out knowing full well that you are going to get hit and still sling it in there and get a big first down. That was impressive.
Kyle Volson, 27 receptions on the season now for 367 yards. They go under center. Motion man going to the near sideline is Bossert. Handoff, Bodine. Bodine gets stoned at the 34-yard line. Good job by the Kindred Vikings defensive line there. Bendis part of the tackling party as well, but good job on the interior to allow Bendis and Tyson Johnson wrap them up right at the line.
It'd be cool to find out, you know, are they looking at that back judge? Are they looking at that play clock? Are they milking this thing down inside 5 seconds every time? Because this is kind of that 4-minute style of drive where, hey, let's get 2 or 3 first downs and see where the drive takes us, but try to wind some clock. Maybe end up having to punt the ball away, but you've already got the ball all the way out to your 35. You know, if we can get them inside of their own 20 here after this possession and take 3 or 4 minutes off the clock, you probably think it's a good thing.
Shotgun formation, play clock at 5 yet again. The Aggies with Shep with 0. They just get it off quickly. Little bubble screen out to Volson at the tight end spot. Volson's going to get met and tattooed by Baco and Starcevic. It is a gain of 5 and makes it a 3rd down and very manageable, but a 3rd and a long 4.5 here for the Aggies.
Those type of plays have been, you know, just typical for offensive pass interference. You know, so many times those receivers will go right for the DB in front of them and put a body on them and try to block them. They did a really good job. They must have some type of an internal clock. Hey, okay, we wait. Now we engage with that defender. Did a great job of waiting for that ball to be caught and then going and making a block and then freeing them up for 7-8 yards.
A Kindred faithful on their feet. They understand it's a 3rd down. The defense has to win. Shep right now getting the guys set, and Matt Weidler wants to take a timeout here with 6:56 remaining in the football game. It's the first time out by either team in the second half. We'll break with them on the scoreboard here from the Fargo Dome. It's 14 for Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison. The Kindred Vikings 6. It's 3rd down and a long 4.5 with under 7 minutes to play here in the 4th quarter.
Growers, prepare your fields and yields against the wet conditions for 2025 and beyond with a drain tile project from Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. Drain tiling will improve and increase your yields and land values for years to come. Chad's Excavating provides free, detailed estimates, and with over 40 years of combined success, they provide professional installation and service. Call Chad today to prepare for your future and any questions that you might have. That's Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
after the conclusion of this football game as well, they will give the awards to both teams respectively, but there will be the Coach of the Year and the Senior Athlete of the Year here in Division A football as well, as the Kindred Vikings and the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies are playing in a classic Dakota Bowl contest here today. 6:56 remaining in the fourth quarter. Third down and long again, about 4.5 for the Aggies. They will need the 43 for the first down. Chase Miller, Nathan Hoots with you here on this Friday morning as we will turn it over to the afternoon in about an hour from now. Trips to the right-hand side, one to the left. Shotgun formation here for Ben Shep. Shep in the gun. Surveys the defense, rolls the pocket near sideline. Shep looking for a man down the field, now going to tuck and run, and he's going to tuck and run into a Viking defender. He's going to be shy of the first down by a good maybe 2 yards or so. The Vikings in on the tackle there with Lincoln Swenson, but it is a gain of about 2.5.
Do you dare go for it here?
Do you
dare?
If you got it, if you're Matt Weiler, I don't know if you do with how your defense is playing, right? You want to give Kindred the far field, but to your point, if you get it, you can milk another 2 or 3 minutes off the clock potentially.
Yeah. You do have your best player punting. I think he knows how to throw the ball.
Snapper is Reggie Bruner here. Punter again in Ben Shep. Clean snap, Shep gets this one off. An angling kick to Baco, who receives it at the 23-yard line for a fair catch with 6:06 remaining. And the way this one has been going, is this maybe the final time Kindred has the ball offensively? Media timeout on the field. We'll let you know about it next. So we return. Vikings down by 8 with the ball at their own 22-yard line when we return.
At Enbridge, we're focused on relationships. 23 Canadian First Nation and Métis communities now own an equity stake in Enbridge Athabasca Pipelines. In Minnesota, Enbridge has spent $450 million and counting, with Native-owned companies and in wages to tribal members working on Line 3. Every day brings new collaborations, partnerships, and possibilities. Learn more at Enbridge.com.
High school football today on yourliveevent.com. Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison 14, Kindred 6. So the question here, Nathan Hoots on the sideline, Chase Miller with you in the press box, is how does Kindred try to solve the puzzle of the Aggies defense? Because they took the opening drive of the game for a touchdown of 52 yards, and it's been a pick, punt, pick, half, punt, downs, interception. So what is the recipe? Because the Aggies have given up yards, but they've really stemmed the tide again once it's gotten that red zone.
I think you got to somehow get Shep away from the guy that you're intending to throw the ball. He's kind of playing that deep middle of the field safety and reading wherever the ball is going. You know, here he's lined up a little offset toward the quarterback's left. I'd be looking to go away from him, try to throw it to Baco, and just keep him out of the play. Well, here he comes that way.
Shotgun formation, Swenson, little read option play. This goes right up the middle. Shep again playing that free high safety spot. Emmett Long, he comes in on the tackle after about a gain of 1 for Swenson, and it'll bring up a 2nd down and 9.
And you may have to go to your, obviously Baco's your wide receiver 1, but who's your number 2? If they're gonna shade Shep, toward number 2, you got to have that second receiver that you trust, that you got to throw it to here and let him make a play. But you are in no rush right now. If you're confident that you can score here, you can run the ball the next couple of 3-4 plays and try to move the ball into the plus territory.
Aggies with 7 men in the box. Shotgun formation for Starcevic yet again. Little play action. Starcevic looking, going for the deep ball down the field. And Spellhawk almost completed. It's incomplete at the 35-yard line. He got by the initial defender, but Eigelhart put his left mitt on the ball as the ball was coming down to Spellhawk, and it's incomplete.
Going to withhold judgment until I get to see this replay here, but that was real close.
That was close. You also have Baco coming in on about a 10 to 15-yard crossing pattern. That was open, but when the football came out for Starcevic, Shep kind of went towards Baco, so that's why he took the free ball one-on-one there, Hoots.
Yeah, that was really well timed by the DB there. I thought maybe he was early in real time, but when you watch the replay, it was perfect.
High snap, screen play. Baco has it, 30-yard line, and they get it to Baco for the screen on the far side for a first down. Move the chains, Vikings, for a gain of 13.
I think that might be a play they try to come back to here. They've run that twice now here in the last 2 possessions. You're getting your right tackle out in space, making plays against the DB with your wide receiver right behind him. A lot of good things can happen. I mean, Luke Starcevic he's athletic and mobile enough to get out and find guys and lock onto him in the secondary.
Yep, Starcevic again at the quarterback spot. 2 wide receivers, right-hand side. Motion man is Swenson in the backfield. They will give it to Kylan here. Kylan gets to the outside, makes a man miss. He's at the 45-50, and Swenson by Shep comes in on the tackle, but not before Swenson able to get by Tannen Johnson, and Miles Stroh's block on the left-handed side. Little shake and bake on the linebacker, gets 15 yards.
Yeah, tremendously blocked on the outside there. When you can get all the way to the safety level before you're touched as a running back, you know the offensive line is doing their job.
17 carries. We got Swenson down for 107 yards here today. Another 100-yard rushing performance. 4:35 remaining here in the contest. Vikings at midfield. 1 wide receiver split out either side. Brock Johnson to the left of Starcevic in the shotgun formation. Play action. Has some time. Baco, quick slant. First down past the 40 to the hash of the 35, and it's a gain of 15 yards.
All right, so the key is throw it underneath of Shep. Don't throw it anywhere near him. You throw it before he can come and make a play, and then let him be a tackler. But don't let him be the defender in coverage. That's, I really like the play calling they have dialed up so far on this possession.
Nearing the 4-minute mark here. Aggies with 2 timeouts. The Kindred Vikings have 3 remaining. 1 wide receiver on either side. Aggies now not giving Baco any attempt to try to get another quick slant as they're rolling the coverage a little bit over towards him. Baco slips to the turf, but somehow Starcevic still got it to him right at the 26-yard line. Baco came back on that little out pattern, Hoots, and when he went on the out, he slipped, but somehow Starcevic threw it right in the breadbasket for a gain of 9.
You know, when I coached, we ran a play, and we had a route that was called a sit route. But we did not teach it for him to go and sit down and then catch it on his backside. That's a little bit different, but that's a tremendous play by both quarterback to throw it while he's down on the ground and then the receiver to make that play.
Baco to the left by himself, trips in a bunch tight to the formation to the right. Ball at the near hash of the 24, make that 26-yard line. Starcevic rolls, looking down the field. Starcevic trying to find a man. Deep pass, looking for Hunter Bindus in the end zone. Shep gets his hands on that one and nearly comes up with his 3rd interception of the game. He got there just in the nick of time as Bindus was open.
There's no way he should have been able to make that play. This guy's... He's an absolute monster in the backfield right now. He had him a little bit earlier, but as his quarterback, that was, you know, a sweet pass, you'd probably call it. He really got to sell that, hey, I'm gonna tuck it and I'm gonna run, and then you want to hit that crosser coming all the way over. You know, maybe he should have been a little more cautious and thrown it underneath and taken something small, but when you get into this type of game and you know you're down a score and the clock's ticking, you want to try to get that touchdown as quickly as possible.
5 seconds on the play clock of Aggies. We'll see the Vikings here come out motion man with Brock Johnson. Johnson gets the first down past the 25 to the 20, breaks a tackle. Johnson stiff up to the 15, Johnson to the 10, Johnson to the 5, and Johnson gets pushed out of bounds by guess who? Shep at the 2-yard line. It's a gain of 20. 5 make that even more on the play. A gain of 27 yards, first down and 10.
That was a lot of big-time stiff arm to break out of that play. And, you know, just made a guy miss, and then, you know, Superman in the backfield thankfully came out of nowhere and made that play and wrapped him up. Oh, you know, when you get to see him right in front of you, he looks a lot like Tim Tebow. With the big old, you know, protector underneath his jersey for his ribs. You know, he's actually got big old knee pads and thigh pads to protect himself because he knows he's going to take blow after blow. This is good. This is big time right now, though. This is the 4th straight possession they're inside the red zone.
As they will come out with the football here for the Vikings. 1st and goal, ball spotted at the 2. Here's the bend but don't break for Velva. They found ways to get off the field here in the second half at this particular spot. Starcevic, QB keeper. Starcevic's going to get stoned right at the line as the Aggies come in right down Broadway for the tackle for the loss. Oh, what a play by Evan Wrench. Guess who yet again on the defensive line spot? It's Shep up top and Wrench down low here at the line for the Aggies.
Yeah, it just seems like every time they need some type of big play, 72 or 10 is stepping up, and you know that was a big time play. You'd have thought they were going to walk in the way they've been moving the ball in this possession, but now it's actually a question of whether or not they're going to get in, not an answer.
And the delicate matter of if you don't score, you got to leave enough time on the field to get the ball back, as they do have 3 timeouts, but the clock winding with 2:30 remaining here in the quarter. Baco comes in the backfield. Starcevic will handle it here. Fakes it. Starcevic gets to about the 2-yard line, so he gets those yards back that were lost, but now it's a 3rd and goal. Ball spotted near the 2-yard line.
So that was a little bit of a change, but they did bring a different guy in motion. Usually it's either 21 or 27, the guy that's coming in. You know, in motion for that handoff that they're given. I like the bit of the counter there where they came back with the speed option the other way.
Vikings, 17 seconds on the play clock, 1:55 and counting on the game clock. Bako lines up to himself on the far side. Shotgun formation. Starcevic in the gun here. Starcevic, handoff. Kylan Swenson. Swenson tries to hop through the line. He's in. Kylan Swenson gets in for a rushing touchdown. The second score of the day for the Vikings. And now the ever-important 2-point conversion.
Chase, he was not in on that first surge, and then he took a bit of a chance when you reach that ball up over the goal line and try to extend the ball. If you get that ball knocked out, it's free, but he did a great job of 2 hands on the ball, extended it over the line, and got that big-time touchdown.
The Vikings are in the end zone, but the 2-point conversion here to try this one up, as we're going to have a review assist here to see if he's actually in. So we will keep it
Chase.
here
He's in.
with 14-12, and Nathan Hoots was right far on the side, and you were right behind the official who called it. I don't mind, though, making sure just to make sure in a championship situation like this.
The only thing that maybe they could question did his momentum completely stop, and was it going backwards? So are they going to say that maybe he was short before he reached it out?
Sure.
If they said his momentum had stopped, that's the only question. The ball definitely crossed the goal line, though.
And if he is short, then you got a 4th and goal at the inch line.
Correct.
Is what you will have here. Clock stops again with 1:44 remaining.
This
ahead.
is really important for Kindred here. You do not have to use a timeout. Now you get to talk about, hey, guys, what do you feel most comfortable with? It's not
as they will say after review, the play on the field stands. Both times they've reviewed a play on the field, both times that it has stood. But regardless, to your point here, Hoots, you get another breather here if you're both teams. But if you're the Vikings, you can talk over what kind of play you want to run.
Exactly. You can get some players' opinions. You look at your captains and say, what is going to get us in the end zone here? But now you have all 3 timeouts. Let's say worst-case scenario, they don't get this. Worst-case scenario, they don't get the onside kick. They still have 3 timeouts to get the ball back once again.
The Aggies have 2 on the other side if this one does get to a tie. Shotgun formation, Aggie fans on their feet, Viking fans on their feet. 2-point conversion to try to tie this puppy up. Handoff Swenson, they run the same play. Swenson trying to spin his way in. Second huffle.
Short.
The Viking fans want to see the arms go up. No one from the referee's indication have put the arms up, and they're going to say 2-point is no good. The 2-point conversion is no good. They ran the exact same play from a touchdown. They ran it for the 2-point conversion, and it is no good. And now the question becomes, does Eric Bergad decide to go for it? And we'll see if there's maybe a review assist before we get to kickoff. But you had a great advantage point there, Hoots. Did he ever get that football across the line, or was his knee down before he stretched?
I'm going to be honest, there were a lot of human beings between me and where that ball was. I thought he got stuffed in the backfield, and then I saw him kind of squirt through. I tried to get a good look around the official, but thankfully, like you've mentioned, we get the opportunity to go and look at it again.
So it's a 2-yard touchdown for Swenson to at least make it 14-12. They will review it, but if there's not enough video evidence, then all of a sudden it will be kickoff. And what does Kindred do going for the onside kick, or do you trust your defense enough to say, hey, we're going to put the ball in your hands, make a 3 and out, then we get better field position around midfield if you can get that stop? As quickly the white hat again, Todd Fisher doesn't take too much time to take a look at it. As the ruling on the field stands, it's no good. And Todd Fisher has headsets that goes up to the replay booth up here in the press box. And now the question is, Hoots, do you kick it deep and trust your defense, or do you go for the onside kick here? Again, kickoff in high school is at the 40-yard line.
I don't want 10 to have the ball guaranteed. I'd like to have an opportunity to give my offense a chance. And with the guys they have out there, it looks like they're going for the onside kick here. I think that's the right call. Give yourself an opportunity to recover this and then go play defense rather than kicking it deep.
It's a 78-yard drive that milks off nearly close to 4.5 minutes. Kindred will put this one on the tee as they do with Haley. Haley on the tee takes the hop, but unable to get to the hop, as it took the quick crow hop, and getting on the football immediately at the 48 was Bruner. So here's the story. 1:44 remaining. Aggies have it at the Viking 48-yard line here for the first time today. Either team will be starting on the positive side of the football field outside of the one interception by Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison. 3 timeouts remaining. Kindred's 24-game winning streak is on the line. Simply put, the Aggies, if they get a first down, they win it as long as it's not on this first play, because then you would have enough time if you're Kindred to get the ball back.
So I think it's 3 standard handoffs or runs by the quarterback. Don't put the ball in the air.
Shep, hand up, Bodine. Bodine has the crease. Bodine breaks a tackle, and he's going to get met right at the first down to line to gain. This is close. Bergan will call the timeout. The question is it 1st and 10 or is it 2nd and short? And they're going to say it's enough for the first down, I believe, depending on the spot. We're right at it from the press box here. They're asking, is the ball on the nose of the football at the 39, or is the ball of the nose of the football at the 38? If they're going to make it a 39, it actually proves beneficial for Velva, because it would be 2nd and about a half yard. If you're Kindred, that was about the worst thing that could have happened.
Sorry, but why isn't that official sprinting in and spotting the ball in one of the biggest plays of the game? That drives me nuts. Same thing happened on the goal line, that 2-point conversion. He came walking in. This is big-time spots in a big-time game. You got to come in there and sell that, not just hand it to that umpire in the middle and have him guess.
So the ball will be spotted in between the hashes now as the officials talking overnight. And I understand where you're coming from, Hoots, in a game like this, where a play like that, again, it's the first down. If you're Kindred, you can give up a first down on one play and still get the ball back. But now with it being 2nd and a half inch, that changes the complete strategy of this football game.
Yeah, I think you just now you're quarterback sneak, get the first down, and then try to use all those timeouts up, milk that thing all the way. Oh no!
As we'll see a false start on the right tackle. We'll see a false start on the right tackle, Evan Wrench, yet again, as the Vikings defense goes with a stunt. And now it'll be 2nd and about 5.5. And we've seen Kindred do that a couple of times. And as we alluded to, the right tackle, Matt Bryant, not in the game. He was injured earlier. So then you got Wrench, who's had one whale of a game defensively, but he's coming in there and then jumps for the football. 5th penalty for now 30 yards.
It's like an injection of new life here for Kindred. If they can get some type of a play that keeps him in, 3rd and 3 or less, I think they'd be pretty happy here.
2nd down upcoming. Shep, hand up. Bodine with the football. Bodine going to get tackled. Makes his way to about the 30, make that 42-yard line, so he gets about 1.5 yards. Timeout Vikings. It'll be their 2nd timeout on the field, brought to you in part by Kindred State Bank and Insurance Agency. So 1 timeout left for Kindred, 91 seconds remaining. And here's the question to what you said earlier in the half. If you're the Aggies, how close is it to 4th and goal, or 4th and go for it situation? Obviously, you get the first down, it's ball game. But if it's 4th and 4 where it stands now, you get no yards on this play, do you put it in the hands of your offense, or do you allow your defense and try to punt the football away and play field position here, Hoots?
That's a great question. I'm more of a conservative coach by nature when it comes to calling plays in this situation, so it would probably be when you got your quarterback that can punt it, maybe you put him in shotgun, and if you don't like the alignment of the defense, you just pooch it down there. If you can get him inside the 20 with no timeouts and under a minute to go, you got to feel pretty good the way your defense has got you here. You got to get the first down here and then not worry about it.
A 3rd down and 4 for the Aggies. They need the Viking 38-yard line. Ball at the 42, handoff. Bodine slips out of a tackle with the stretch. He gets the 40, so he gets half of it. So Matt Weiler going to be in a precarious situation here, as it's going to be 4th and 2. Ball will be, the nose of the football will be right at the 40, so it is a full 2 yards that they will need for the final timeout. Again, brought to you in part by Kindred State Bank and Insurance Agency. You run the ball 3 times. That 5-yard penalty is costly now. And as we were alluding to earlier, that 9.5-yard rush by Bodine was about the best thing that could have happened for the Aggies. Well, now it's almost the worst thing because of that 5-yard penalty that allowed Kindred to get it to a 4th and 2 upcoming. And again, the quarterback, as Hoots alluded to for the Aggies, is the punter. And this is one where Hoots, Aggies have 2 timeouts, hard count. I would assume you try to pull what Russell Wilson did against the Washington Commanders on Sunday. You try to do it here and see if you can get that defensive line to maybe jump across and get a free 5 yards.
Yeah, you absolutely could do that. You can get up there and do it for 25 straight seconds and try to get them to jump and then take a timeout of your own and then recalibrate and see what you want. 1 minute, and so they'll get the ball back. If they stop them here, they got to go 60 yards in a minute 25. It might be worth you know, it might be worth going for it and seeing if you can just end the game right here and celebrate.
You're close to almost no man's land, right? If this was the 35 or 30, obviously you're going for it. But now Ben Shep will stand back at the 48-yard line to punt this football away. Reminder, the up man here for the Aggies is Leggy at the 44. Clean snap. Here's the punt. Nobody to return the football here for the Vikings. This one will take a Aggie roll, but then eventually go into the end zone. 7 seconds does come off the clock. Here's the situation. 78 seconds remaining in the Division A title. The Vikings down by 3, no timeouts remaining, need a field goal or a touchdown to earn it in a walk-off fashion and continue their win streak to 25 games in a row. If they're unable to get in the end zone or a field goal, it'll be the Aggies that'll come out on top for the second time in 3 years in the first championship under head coach Matt Wilder.
So no timeouts. You got to make sure that your quarterback knows. Same situation they had before. You got whatever happens, make sure the clock is stopping here. Incomplete, first down, touchdown, out of bounds. Any of those options are just fine.
Shotgun formation for the Vikings. They still have a chance to try to win back-to-back titles. Starsvik rolling the pocket. Starsvik comes back across the field. Starsvik looking for a man down the field. Steps up, fires, throws, looking for Bindis. This one a high 50-50 ball, and it's almost picked off. Bindis was at the Aggies' 45-yard line. Starsvik threw it up like going for 500. Thomas Bodine nearly came up with the game-sealing INT instead. It'll be a clock stop with 1:07.
Yeah, we've had a lot of 50-50 balls here from Kindred here in this entire game, and that might be the first one that hasn't gone Velva's way. When he released it, I thought he was going to make a play because I thought the safety was a little too far away. Let's see if they try to get something, 10, 12 yards down the field and get some positive momentum on this drive here.
They're trying their best to also try to maybe double bracket Baco a little bit here as well. Play clock to 3. Starsvik has time looking for Baco wide open though at the 35-40. Baco gets the 45 and a gain of 25 yards.
That's exactly what they need. Now get up on the ball as quickly as possible. You should know exactly what you want to run very, very fast here. Probably something off the wristband.
84 yards for Baco through the air, 1st and 10 Vikings. Well, now you're at least in Hail Mary range, but the clock is continuing to wind to 55 seconds, so the Vikings are trying to get set up as Baco has to now go to the right-hand side of the formation. Baco gets set now with 47 seconds. So motion right to left. Starsvik in the gun. Vikings pump fake. Starsvik looking down the field for Baco. Here's a ball down the field, and this one is going to be picked up. It's picked up by the Aggies. They did it again. The Aggies with Matthew Yoakum, one of the 2 biggest plays in this game, the 92-yard touchdown reception and the game-sealing interception as the Aggies have dethroned the Kindred Vikings. They went to throw the football up to Baco, but good job again by Yoakum, who sealed off Baco to try to go up for the football between the numbers and the sideline, and eventually the Aggies with a one-handed grab by Yoakum to come up again with the 2 biggest plays, quite frankly, in this game. And for the Vikings, it'll be another interception, their 4th turnover of the game. And Hoots, that's the story. 4 turnovers. 3 interceptions by Starsvik, 1 by Swenson, no turnovers by Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison, and that, when it's a 2-point margin, really defines the outcome of this Division A title.
Absolutely, and we've talked about it several times how the ball just has not come out of his hands clean pretty much all game long. We talked about it. That one he had where he rolled out to his right and kind of slung it sidearm, that was the one that came out clean. Every other one has been wobbly, and I think he's had guys that's just he hasn't been able to connect with them, and credit the ball hawks on the back of the defense for Velva. They are the ones that won them this game, is all of the deflections, great plays on the ball. They had 15 balls, it seemed like they were in the air, and they never once had a pass interference call and came up with them more often than not.
Oh, the Kindred Vikings, they lost in the Division A basketball championship against Devils Lake in the Fargo Dome back in March, and you come a few months later here in November, they get 1 game away from winning their 2nd straight football championship. Tip of the cap and congratulations goes out to Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison. They will be your 2024 Division A football champs with a 14-12 win over the Kindred Vikings. Down goes the 24-game winning streak for Kindred. This will be the first loss since the Squirrels beat them on October the 29th of 2022. While for the Aggies, a storied program here for Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison. Velva won 9 titles by themselves from 1997 to 2011. The Aggies defeated the Central Cass Squirrels in 2022 by 2 points as well, 22-20, to send Larry Sandy off into retirement in a big fashion. And now under Matt Weiler in his second year as a head coach, the Aggies are back atop the Division A football title with a 14-12 win in a gritty performance against the Kindred Vikings. Nathan Hoots says we'll get to our post-game show in a moment as both teams are coming out here with the middle of the opportunity here, as they will see both teams with some handshakes in a hard-fought game. First loss under Eric Bergad for Kindred in 2 years, but the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies did enough today here against Kindred. Got down early, 6-0. The game flipped a little bit in the first half after a Starcevic interception. 2 plays later, Bruner with a 25-yard receiving touchdown from Shep that tied the game up at 6. Aggies had it deep in their own territory on a 3rd down. Shep absolutely gets blown up, but Miles Stroh slipped. Jokum got some room. He goes 92 yards to the score, and then the 2-point conversion, which bounced off the hands of Stroh, that went right into Eaglehart's hands behind him 2 yards. That was the difference in the score at 14-12, but the turnovers, Hoots, again, the biggest thing in this particular game.
Absolutely. You know, we were kind of joking about it when you asked for my analysis during the break at halftime. It was one word, it was turnovers. And, you know, oddly enough, that's what came back to kind of be the difference in the game is, you know, I don't know what the, total yardage differential was, but, Velva had the one really big play, but outside of that, not a whole lot really cooked for them on offense. But then defensively, it was 3 out of 4 stops in the red zone for their defense in the last possession of that first half, and then the 3 possessions there in the second half. That was the difference in the game. Turnovers and red zone defense for Velva.
Let's get to our Enbridge Energy players of the game. Go to Enbridge.com for career opportunities. Life takes energy. That is Enbridge.com for career opportunities. And I think there's a couple here for the Aggies that stand out. Wrench obviously having to come on the offensive line, Hoots, to play for the majority of the second, third, and fourth quarter after Matt Bryant went out with an injury. Ben Shep again with 2 interceptions in this game, able to get the touchdowns, both of them passing as well through the air. He's got to be like a 1A. And then Yoakum, I mean, when you needed to have an X factor, you always talk about who's a playmaker that can be the story. Well, for Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison, the senior, Matt Yoakum, had the 92-yard catch and then the game-sealing interception. I think those are kind of your 3 musketeers. Is there a 4th or 5th here, Hoots, from your perspective?
I think that pretty much seals it right there. If you want to give one, to the defensive line as a total from Velva, being able to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback from Kindred and just forcing him to make passes under pressure, you could probably give it to them. But the 3 you mentioned, that they pretty much summed up the difference in the game.
Those are our Enbridge Energy players of the game. Go to Enbridge.com for career opportunities. What they'll do now is the 9-man teams are warming up on the football field. They will get to the introduction of the team awards here for the individuals and also get to the senior athlete and the coach of the year as well. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back after this and get to some of the awards coming up here from the Fargo.
Let the geeks at GK Technology help you with your agricultural data. Their agronomists know agriculture. When it comes to creating soils and zone maps to maximize yields in your fields, you can trust the people with decades of experience in site-specific agriculture. Everyone at GK Technology has a background in agriculture, so they know what makes a farm run, and they speak your language. The geeks at GK Technology have a map and an app for that.
There's more at 104. Hillsborough, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsborough and see why there's more at 104.
As we get to the senior athlete and the coach of the year as well here in North Dakota. For the Kindred Vikings, Eric Bergad is your coach of the year. Your senior athlete of the year is Ben Shep. here from Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison. Hoots, let's talk about both of those first. Let's talk about Ben Shep and just the season that he had, but more importantly, also the game that he had. 33 passing touchdowns on the season to just 2 interceptions. Ben Shep, obviously, we said it earlier in the broadcast, felt like he was the MVP of the game, if you will, and he definitely had a phenomenal contest.
Yeah, and it was today we talked about how important it was that he take care of the football, and he didn't turn it over. He understood situations that, hey, we just need to keep the ball, we just need to hold on to it for a possession or two, or a first down or two, and then punting is just fine. He didn't take any excessive chances, and you can tell based on the stats you threw out, the 33 touchdowns to 2 picks. He didn't do that all year long. So just a tremendous athlete, and he's just as good on defense as he is on offense. It's just probably why he won this award.
What was the biggest point in your game here, Hughes, that allowed the Aggies to knock down the Kindred Vikings here in this Division A championship?
Honestly, I think it was the defensive stop going into halftime. Just the momentum that was carried into the halftime locker room when you got to stop going in then 6-6. If you give up a touchdown, even if it would have just been 6, to go down 12-6 knowing, hey, we got to play defense here to start the second half, that would have been intimidating, to say the least. And, they answered the bell early. When Kindred went up early, it didn't matter. They came back. They battled back. You could argue if you wanted that the 92-yard touchdown was probably the play of the game, but the stand of the game was right before the half for me.
It was one that will live for a long time with Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison, and for the Kindred perspective, it's going to be the what-if game, right?
Yep.
What if you don't have an interception? What if you can punch the ball in the end zone at the end of the game? As much as Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison won this game, when you get 4 turnovers, you definitely earn the championship. On the flip side, I think if you're Kindred later tonight throughout the weekend, you're going to have what if we just did one more play, the 2-point conversion, the onside kick. Hoots, I think as much as the Vikings put up one well of an effort, they should not hang their hats by any means in terms of what these seniors have done winning a state title last year. Only 1 loss this year to a team that you beat by 6 points to start the season. But if you're a Kindred fan, I think that's going to be some of the resounding questions once you kind of get over the weekend going, shoot, you were this close to possibly going back-to-back.
Yeah, and what if one of those 3 trick plays they ran, what if one of those 3 work? Is that the difference in the game? Could that have been it? None of the 3 were really that close, but you probably worked on them a ton this week in practice to get ready for the game. And, if one of those what-ifs take place, we could be crowning a different champion right now.
Well, that's a final here in this one. We'll take a quick break. When we come back after this, we'll put a bow on the Division A football championship between the Aggies and the Vikings.
The Ringneck is the perfect stop for lunch or dinner in Leonard, North Dakota. They have a wide variety menu from burgers, wraps, steak, chicken, and seafood. For that small-town family-owned dining experience, check out the Ringneck today. To place an order ahead of time for takeout, call 701-645-2461. That's 701-645-2461. For more information and daily food specials, search the Ringneck on Facebook. That's the Ringneck in Leonard.
Are you looking for your next vacation rental? Call or text Mason at Cleave Guard Rentals 701-552-3181. Family fun, girls getaway, retreats and get-togethers. Call or text Mason 701-552-3181. Located on West McDonald Lake, your vacation awaits.
Lakes Community Co-op delivers more than just propane into a tank. They deliver a commitment to customer safety with professional, knowledgeable service. Lakes Community Co-op propane customers can relax because having a monitored tank allows Lakes Community Co-op to know tank levels and therefore make timely deliveries. This takes away all your worries. Call 1-888-935-2281 for propane from Lakes Community Co-op. For more information, visit lakescommunitycoop.com.
Final segment on our post-game show. Again, it is a final. Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison picks up the win here today on yourliveevent.com in what was an absolute barn burner here today between Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison and the Kindred Vikings. Again, your final, the Aggies 14-12 as they pick up the win here in the Division A football championship. Take a look at the final numbers in this one. for the Aggies, 27 rushes, 83 yards. They had 154 yards through the air on 8 of 12 passing for Shep, who had 154 and 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. One for the Kindred Vikings, 38 rushes for 190 yards through the air here for Kindred. 10 of 19 for Jake Starcevic for 137 yards a pick. Swenson goes 0 for 2 with the pick, and Bacco goes 0 for 1 here today. Bodine, 14 carries, 50 yards. Shep, 12 carries for 35 yards. Kylan Swenson, 19 carries for 113 yards and a touchdown. Brock Johnson, 6 rushes for 50 yards. Jake Starcevic, 11 for 31. Receiving numbers, Yoakum, 1 reception for 92 yards and a touchdown, which eventually became the game-winning score. Bruner, 2 catches for 24 yards and a touchdown. Brooks Bacco, 6 receptions for 84 yards, and Hunter Bindis with 2 receptions for 30 yards in this contest. Shep with 12 tackles for the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies, while on the opposite side, Tyson Johnson with 5.5 tackles to lead the way for Kindred. Vikings 6 points in the first and the fourth. Velva-Drake-Anamoose 6 points in the first, 8 points in the third. The 2-point conversion, again, was the difference maker. Aggies with the championship, 14-12. Coming up in about 20 minutes, we'll get to our next championship with Lemoore, Litchfield Marion, and New Rockford Cheyenne. That is coming up next on behalf of Nathan Hoots. I'm Chase Miller. Thanks so much for tuning in to game 1 of 2 of our coverage today from the Dakota Bowl, as the Velva-Drake-Anamoose-Garrison Aggies are the champs of Division A football.